chirp a long cry that created waves of ripples even in the depths of the water. Ling Chen's body stiffened, he was instantly deprived of his awareness, but then at the same time, Mind Saber in his hand flashed a white light for an instant, the confused feeling in Ling Chen's head vanished entirely. He focused his mind, putting away Mind Saber and following the flow of the water, continuing to swim forward. Before, when he was facing the greedy giant toad, Mind Saber played a huge role, helping Ling Chen become immune to its large area confusion skill. The Zephyr bird also has a large area skill that adds the confusion status. It is still Mind Saber that helped him. Or else, regardless if it's the greedy giant toad or the Zephyr bird, if he is confused and cannot control his movement, then during that period of confusion he will easily die. His body stayed in the water the whole time and continued moving forward following the flow of the water. Xiao Hui also followed closely behind, his movements as free as walking on land. Every dozen seconds Ling Chen has to come out of the water to breath. And during this time is when the Zephyr bird locks onto him again. But repeating it time after time, the Zephyr bird that cannot swim has been unable to do anything to Ling Chen the entire time. In between, it has also released many times Cold Wind Fang, Frenzied Wind, and Piercing Cry, but they've all been unable to take effect. This flowing stream in the chasm has become Ling Chen's perfect protection shelter. The Zephyr bird is unable to harm him, and Ling Chen is likewise unable to escape from the claws of the Zephyr bird that from the beginning to the end never gave up pursuing him. The anxiety in his heart also became increasingly greater. Because the Zephyr bird has the time to waste, but he does not. Every time he comes out of the water to breath, he has to take a yellow potion at the first instant to return his HP to max, just like that, consuming them bottle after bottle. Before entering this trial he bought a total of 200 yellow potions. Under the pursuit of the Zephyr bird, in just 20 over minutes he has already consumed almost 100 bottles. If he consumes all of his yellow potions, then there really only is death, this one path remaining. Even escaping from the Zephyr bird's claws will be impossible. In addition, in this period of time he has been carried by the river a total distance of about 10 kilometers. But he gradually noticed that he'd already moved following the river for so long, yet the surrounding scenery hasn't changed much the entire time. A thought slowly formed in his mind. Could it be that this scenery is actually an infinite loop? Or else how can I have still not reached the end or the edge in a trial map that shouldn't be too big after being carried away for 10 kilometers? If it's really like this, then the so-called geographical turning point will not appear. If things continue like this, then not too long later he will be wasted to death alive. I can't continue like this anymore. Ling Chen continued to swim following the water, but his gaze already no longer looked upward, instead searching around the surroundings looking for things that can help him. Once again coming out of the water and taking big breaths. Without question, when he returned his HP to max, the Zephyr bird's green eyes had already tightly locked onto him, flying over to him in the sound of wind. Ling Chen exhaled. When he was just about to dive into the water again, he suddenly saw that on the mountain wall a couple dozen meters in front, at the position near the surface of the water, there reflected a shadow about the size of a human. That is. Ling Chen quickly sank into the water, dodging the Zephyr bird's charge attack, and then followed the river, continuing to swim forward, but his gaze tightly focused on the direct of the shadow that he saw before. Swimming closer and closer following the river, when he got close he finally confirmed that that is indeed a cave set in the mountain wall. Judging from the thickness of the shadow, this cave should be relatively deep. Right away, he held his breath, rapidly swimming to the position close to that mountain wall. He then stepped on a protruding stone beneath the water and jumped up in the water. This position is only a few dozen meters away from the Zephyr bird. With the Zephyr bird's flying speed, this is a particularly dangerous distance. Sure enough, when he jumped out in the water, the Zephyr bird's aura had already locked onto him. It then brought up a wild windstorm flying towards him. The distance was shortened in the blink of an eye. Ling Chen, who jumped up from the water, tightly held onto a rock in front. He then applied force again and jumped, directly jumping out of the water and landing at the edge of the cave. Behind him the dangerous aura approached. He did not turn around. Against the Zephyr bird's speed he also cannot dodge, directly using the celestial aqua scale to block behind him. Bam! The Zephyr bird was bounced away by the celestial aqua scale, and Ling Chen was also bumped forward, his footsteps stumbling, rushing into the dark cave. After entering the cave, Ling Chen let out a long sigh of relief, because no matter if it's the size or depth of this cave, it was all what he hoped to see the most. A height and width of about 2 meters was entirely enough for him to enter and move, but the Zephyr bird is unable to enter. Ling Chen rapidly walked into the interior of the cave. This cave should have been naturally formed, the interior shape is very uneven. After a dozen steps Ling Chen had already reached the end. This cave is not a straight line but instead has a slightly large curve. This also means that even if the Zephyr bird releases cold wind Fong at the entrance, all he needs to do is hide in the position after the curve and he will not be hit. Should be very safe. Ling Chen relaxed, leaning on the damp stone wall in fatigue. Being in the water for almost half an hour and at the same time also constantly being in a state of high tension, this is a fairly large drain on his mind. The sound of the Zephyr birds or nearby or far away cries constantly traveled into his ears. The Zephyr bird did not leave, but evidently it also knows that it cannot enter this cave. It can only helplessly circle around the cave. Woof! Beside his feet came the sensation of soft rubbing. Ling Chen opened his eyes, crouching down, his hand lightly placing on top of Xiao Hui's head and helplessly saying, "Besides hiding here we probably don't have any other methods." Whimper! Xiao Hui opened wide its round eyes, not knowing how to respond to its mazer. Ling Chen was always being chased by the Zephyr bird, and from beginning to end the Zephyr bird treated it like it didn't exist. It never launched any attacks at it. Its gift of not drawing aggro is not false. Ling Chen silently stood in the deepest part of the cave, not having any actions the entire time. He was waiting. Waiting for the Zephyr bird to leave on its own after its patience vanishes, even though he knows in his heart that this possibility is actually not very big. There was no luck. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. After a half hour passed by, Ling Chen could still feel the presence of the Zephyr bird outside of the cave, or he could still hear the sound of its cries. Ling Chen helplessly looked at the time. It was already 6 in the morning. At this time in the hot summer the sky of the real world has already brightened, it has also almost reached the time for him to prepare breakfast for Ling Shuerua. After thinking things through he finally decided to temporarily leave. Hope I can freely log out in the map. I hope so. Silently saying to himself, Ling Chen issued the command to log out. Ding! You are currently in War God's trial ground. After logging out you will be directly sent out, cannot enter again. Are you sure you want to leave? Ling Chen was not surprised by this result. The guardian of the Hall of Heroic Souls also said that one person can only enter this map once. If he chooses to leave right now he will directly leave this place, unable to enter again. At the same time he will even lose all of the opportunities of the Hall of Heroic Souls. TL, I have no clue what this means, could be my raw, could be something I'm not getting. I think he's talking about the opportunity to enter the hall again. But against the stubbornly chasing Zephyr bird he also truly does not have any other choices. At least after logging out and being sent out what he loses is an opportunity and not his life. The result is a lot better compared to dying here. Sure enough, the trial that made 6 of Forgotten Continent's peerless geniuses lose their lives is heinously difficult. Yet, after being silent for a moment, Ling Chen cancelled the command to log out. Lifting his gaze he simultaneously equipped Sand Blade and Soaring Cloud in his hands. Messing around with this damned bird for so long but only able to return without any results. Before leaving, how can he not give it a big gift? His gaze becoming cold, Ling Chen directly charged straight out in the direction of the cave entrance and was then exposed in light. The instant that he appeared the Zephyr bird circling in the sky discovered him. With a sharp cry it rushed straight at him in a roaring wind. The wild wind brought up by mid-air charge made Ling Chen almost unable to stand steadily, but he did not dodge. Instead he welcomed the Zephyr bird's body, slowly raising up his right arm. Moon Shadow. Lunar Scourge's light jumped up, dragging out the Zephyr bird's massive shadow and also freezing the Zephyr bird that was nearly about to touch Ling Chen's body right in front of him. Ling Chen took a step forward, Fire of Rage and Soul Sacrifice simultaneously activating, his dual weapons attacking in a flurry with full power strike. Miss, 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 Mississippi Ling Chen, 8 attacks, 0 hits, but this was also entirely within Ling Chen's expectations. He took a step back, his eyes focusing and then shooting Soaring Cloud at the Zephyr bird. Before leaving no matter what he needs to hurt it once. Fwoosh. Minus 4,698. The Zephyr bird's defense is indeed not very high, compared to the regular Zephyr bird it is not that much stronger. The instant that Soaring Cloud pierced through its body it directly took away almost 1/40th of its HP, Soaring Cloud that was thrown out fell from the sky after all of its force dissipated, falling into the flowing water. At this moment the Zephyr bird recovered from being frozen, but Ling Chen had also already rapidly returned within the cave, placing himself in the safest position. Even though a shooting Soaring Cloud under his most extreme state dealt a decent amount of damage to the Zephyr bird, but in a short period of time it will automatically recover all of its lost health, making what Ling Chen did essentially useless. Xiao Hui, go retrieve Soaring Cloud. Ling Chen yelled towards Xiao Hui. Xiao Hui accepted the command, its body bringing up a gray shadow springing out of the cave and jumping into the water. It headed straight in the direction of Soaring Cloud and then held Soaring Cloud in its mouth. It was just about to return when suddenly the tip of the horn on its head started to flash a sometimes strong, sometimes weak gray light. Xiao Hui's body immediately stopped there. Only after a few seconds did it turn around, returning. When it turned around, the glow on its horn disappeared. Xiao Hui returned to the cave and placed Soaring Cloud in front of Ling Chen. Ling Chen was just about to praise it, yet he saw Xiao Hui swiftly run away from in front of him and then jump out of the cave entrance into the water, rapidly rushing following the direction of the river. Xiao Hui, where are you going? Ling Chen furrowed his eyebrows, risking the danger of being attacked by the Zephyr bird and charging outside of the cave. Yet he discovered that Xiao Hui was already dozens of meters away and then it plunged into the water, disappearing from sight. The instant before it disappeared, Ling Chen seemed to have saw a ray of gray-colored light. Right now if he chooses to log out, then Xiao Hui will also be forcibly recalled to the pet space. He did not leave, standing at the safest location in the depths of the cave silently awaiting Xiao Hui's return. Outside of the cave the Zephyr bird's long cries constantly traveled over. Seemingly that unless Ling Chen dies or disappears from this map, it will continue to follow him, absolutely not leaving. Xiao Hui left for a very long time. When Ling Chen was practically unable to resist calling it back, a light splashing sound came from the entrance of the cave. Xiao Hui had finally returned. Only when it ran all the way to the front of Ling Chen did he see that its mouth was holding an orb surrounded by a soft glow. Accurately speaking, it was sucking it in its mouth, because Xiao Hui's mouth was too small and that orb was too big, it simply could not completely hold it in its mouth. Xiao Hui put the orb on the ground and shook off the water droplets on its body. It wagged its tail, using its bright eyes to stare at Ling Chen, signaling him to pick up the orb. Ling Chen immediately completely understood everything. In Xiao Hui's innate talent it is stated that it is particularly sensitive towards treasures. It can discover the presence of all kinds of treasure from far away and then find the precise location. It left before definitely because it discovered the presence of a treasure at a certain location, so it rushed over looking for it. This orb that it brought over is the treasure that it found. This item that Xiao Hui found, what is it? Ling Chen crouched down picking up the orb. The orb is a silver color and is about the size of his palm. He can just perfectly hold it with one hand. And the instant that he held it in his hands, a familiar feeling suddenly appeared in his heart. He faintly felt that it seemed like just not too long ago that he obtained a similar, or maybe it should be said to be exactly the same item of the same size and weight. His gaze landed on it. In the semi-transparent orb there reflected the fuzzy image of an arrowhead shape. Wait. This size, weight, feeling, and this shape. Ling Chen's eyes fiercely jumped. He finally understood what this familiar feeling was, because the size and weight of this orb along with its glow are all the same as the Gemini orb that he got before. And the blurry image reflected within is clearly the shape of Sagittarius of the 12 zodiacs. Could this be? He slightly shook his head, and then used a trembling gaze to look at this orb's information. Sagittarius Orb, type, energy orb, grade, mysterious god, attribute, none. Equipment requirement, can only be slotted in, lunar scourge. Attributes, all attacks, absolute hit, ignore, absolute dodge, status, damage plus 50% when using any arrow, class attack. Shooting range plus 50%, and triggers, lossless piercing, 100% of the time. TL, lossless piercing I'm assuming is no damage reduction when piercing through multiple targets. The direct translation is something like, no weakening piercing. Suggestions welcomed. Ling Chen's pupils contracted, holding the orb in his hand and spacing out for a long time, almost unable to believe his eyes. In this war god's trial ground, the item that Xiao Hui brought back after abruptly leaving is actually Lunar Scourge's 9th exclusive god orb, the Sagittarius Orb. In regards to finding Lunar Scourge's exclusive god orbs and saint orbs, Ling Chen has always been in a blank state because he simply doesn't know where they all are, even Qi Yu also doesn't know. But what can be certified is that those orb with the strength of mysterious god and saint destroyer will definitely not exist in regular places. They might be in extreme places that regular people are unable to reach, or maybe in a closed area that nobody can arrive at, or maybe in the hands of extremely powerful beings, because it is only so that they can safely exist. When Tao Tai handed over the Gemini orb to him, he also said that to find the rest of the exclusive orbs is incredibly difficult and that it could take hundreds or even thousands of years of time. And now, from when he obtained Lunar Scourge, it has not even reached 1 day's time. Just like that, the Sagittarius orb this easily appeared in his hands. No, was it really easy? Ling Chen's gaze shifted away from the Sagittarius orb and froze on Xiao Hui's body. This is the Sagittarius orb that Xiao Hui found. It was probably found at a certain location in the deepest parts of the river. And if not for its ability to discover treasure, then even if he went numerous rounds around here, even if he passed the trial in the war god's trial ground, he wouldn't have even noticed its existence. At the same time, one person can only enter into this map a total of 1 time. It is an absolutely enclosed space. If he missed it, then that would have been the same as forever losing it. Xiao Hui, you did a stupendous job. Ling Chen rubbed Xiao Hui's head, complimenting it in excitement. Right now he is practically unable to explain how lucky he is gaining Xiao Hui. Using that non-elemental orb in exchange for the birth of Xiao Hui before the trial was entirely the most correct choice ever. Could it be, this is fate? Looking at the stats of the Sagittarius orb in his hand and listening to the sounds of the Zephyr bird beside his ears, the corners of Ling Chen's lips started to slowly curve up, drawing back a dangerous smile. Absolute hit, truly an orb of the same level as the Gemini orb. What it adds is a terrifying stat that makes people breathless. This means that as long as he has this orb, he can treat the dodge attribute of the entire mystic moon world as nothing. This means that he no longer needs to pay attention to hit ability and can chase after extreme attack ability to his heart's content. This means that all of his attacks will never miss ever again, means that his attack efficiency will obtain the most ultimate upgrade. And also means the death of that Zephyr bird outside. The Sagittarius Orb doesn't just have one stat. It not only has the ability, Absolute Hit, it can also greatly increase the damage and shooting range of arrow-type attacks and can 100% trigger lossless piercing. For archers this is virtually an op effect. The Sagittarius Orb is like an orb specially born for the arrow. Looking at these kinds of stats, Ling Chen's heart even appeared a regret of not choosing the apprentice archer class at the novice village. If he was an archer right now, with this Sagittarius Orb, how terrifying of a degree would his ability rise to right now? What made Ling Chen slightly puzzled was why the appearance of the Sagittarius Orb did not draw out Chiyu, but this was not what he cared about. He extended his right hand, holding up the Sagittarius Orb and slotting it towards Lunar Scourge's 9th slot. The instant that they touched, a silver light flashed by and the Sagittarius Orb had already shrunk. In the notification sound of slotting successful, in the 9th hole of Lunar Scourge a silver glow was released. Ding! Sagittarius Orb slotting successful. All of your attacks will have Absolute Hit, when using any arrow class attack, damage increased by 50%, shooting range plus 50%, and 100% chance to trigger lossless piercing. After the Sagittarius Orb was successfully slotted, everything returned to silence. It did not unlock one of Lunar Scourge's exclusive skills after slotting like the Gemini Orb. But this did not douse Ling Chen's excitement. He opened his stat page, surprisingly seeing that the value after his hit attribute had turned into very good, truly excellent. Ling Chen slowly stood up, looking towards the outside of the cave. With the Sagittarius Orb, the originally undefeatable Zephyr bird is no longer scary. More accurately speaking, in Ling Chen's eyes it is already a dead bird, waiting for all of his skills to finish cooling down. Ling Chen equipped Sand Blade and Soaring Cloud in his two hands, taking quick steps, walking out of the cave and standing at the cave entrance looking at the sky. I'm confused which of his skills are on cooldown. His skill with the highest cooldown is Soul Sacrifice at 200 seconds, but the author said that Ling Chen waited a long time for Xiao Hui. Is 200 seconds that long, or am I missing something? In the instant that he appeared, the circling Zephyr bird immediately sped downward, rushing towards him like a green-colored missile. Right now, its HP that was reduced by Soaring Cloud before has already returned to full. Ling Chen's face did not have a hint of fear, welcoming its massive figure and lifting his right hand, activating Moon Shadow at the most suitable time. The strange light flickering, the Zephyr bird was completely frozen when it was at a distance of not even 3 meters away from Ling Chen. Ling Chen rapidly rushed forward, buffing himself with Fire of Rage and Soul Sacrifice, Full Power Strike, heavily smashing at it. Minus 2,380, minus 2,347. Following the landing of those two full power strikes, two dazzling blood-red numbers floated up from the Zephyr bird's body. 2 attacks all hit. The angle of Ling Chen's curved lips slightly increased, his movements not stopping at all, using his fastest speed to cut away. Minus 2,360, minus 4,722, minus 4,698, minus 2,482, minus 2,339. At the last second, left hand Sand Blade, Full Power Strike, right hand Soaring Cloud, shooting Soaring Cloud, heavily hitting the Zephyr bird's body. Minus 2,342, minus 9,418. The powerful critical hit rate added by the Heartless Orb isn't a joke. 10 attacks triggered a total of 3 critical hits. Especially the critical hit of shooting Soaring Cloud, dealing out almost 10,000 damage. When the Zephyr bird recovered from its frozen status, its HP had dropped by nearly 20%. Powerful attacks for 5 seconds under his ultimate state, with all of them hitting, in total dealing over 35,000 damage. And if he did not have the Sagittarius Orb, only shooting Soaring Cloud would be able to hit out of these 10 attacks. Like so, even after 200 seconds the Zephyr bird's HP will only be able to recover by 20,000 and not all of it to full. The Zephyr bird that had been badly hurt let out a series of sorrowful cries, but before it could attack, the target in front had already swiftly run away, hiding in that deep part of the cave that cut off all of its attacks. It circled back and forth around the surroundings of the cave entrance but was simply unable to do anything to Ling Chen. Straightforwardly speaking, this attack style of Ling Chen's is extremely shameless. If he were to fight face to face with the Zephyr bird, then with a flap of the Zephyr bird's wings he would unquestionably die. But, what decides victory is not just strength, but also luck, mentality, and geography. That is what a true battle is. After 60 seconds Moon Shadow's cooldown time reset. Ling Chen swiftly charged out from the cave and then attracted over the Zephyr bird. He raised his right arm again using Lunar Scourge's Moon Shadow to freeze the Zephyr bird's body a couple meters in front of him, and then rushed forward continuously slashing down 10 full power strikes. -428, -420, -842, -419, -425, -430, -419, -418, -838, -422. Without soul sacrifice his attack ability evidently cannot compare to his ultimate state. But the stacked attack strength of dual weapons adding that the Zephyr bird's defense is very low, 10 full-powered strikes also eliminated over 5,000 of the Zephyr bird's HP. After 10 attacks Ling Chen lifted his legs and ran. The Zephyr bird that had recovered its freedom could only once again miss its attack, releasing an angered bird cry but unable to do anything. A massive body will indeed give people a sort of pressure on one's aura and vision, but sometimes it is definitely not a good thing. Another 60 seconds, Moon Shadow's cooldown time once again refreshed, he repeated the process, rushing out of the cave and drawing over the Zephyr bird. And then another 10 full power strikes taking away around 5,000 of its HP, afterwards beating a hasty retreat. It's a good thing that the Zephyr bird is just a low-intelligence bird. If it was a human with mature intelligence then they would definitely be fuming with anger. But then again, if the Zephyr bird had high enough intelligence then it also wouldn't be so easily controlled by Ling Chen in the palm of his hand. 200 seconds passed by, Soul Sacrifice's cooldown time also refreshed. The following round of attacks will be attacks under his ultimate state. He rushed out of the cave, staring at the approaching Zephyr bird. Before the Zephyr bird's approach brought a sense of danger. Now watching it flying over Ling Chen felt like it was in a rush to come die. Moon Shadow. In the light of Lunar Scourge the Zephyr bird was completely frozen. Fire of Rage. Soul Sacrifice. Ling Chen rushed forward, his gaze first stopping on its HP for an instant and then afterwards was a flurry of wild attacks. The Zephyr bird's HP, 153,802/180,000. In these 200 seconds, it recovered 20,000 HP. But in these 200 seconds, the damage Ling Chen dealt towards it was over 45,000. Its HP recovery speed simply could not compare to its rate of loss. -2,360, -4,722, -2,338, -4,782, -2,339, -2,380, -2,369, -2459. The last attack, Shooting Soaring Cloud. -4,792. An incomparable storm of attacks, the Zephyr bird's HP dropped another 30,000 over points. Its health bar was instantly cleared by a whole 1/3. After attacking Ling Chen returned into the cave at the first moment. In a bit Xiao Hui retrieved the thrown-out Soaring Cloud. Afterwards, were the same repeated actions. When Moon Shadow's cooldown time refreshes, he will rush out of the cave and draw over the Zephyr bird following with a rain of full power strikes. After 2 rounds of attacks is the extreme attack under his soul sacrifice state. The last attack is the currently most lethal Shooting Soaring Cloud. Just like that looping over again and again. The entire process was easy and relaxing, there was practically no danger to speak of. One Sagittarius Orb made the initially hopeless battle turn into being controlled by Ling Chen. The originally undefeatable celestial beast is also not that scary anymore, instead being played in the palm of his hand. This is the strength of mysterious god orbs. But, a celestial beast is after all still a celestial beast. Even if it's this kind of shameless attack style, eliminating it still isn't something that can be done in a short period of time. In this repeated loop, the Zephyr bird's HP slowly dropped. Finally, at the 18th round, following Ling Chen's 4th round of full power strikes, the Zephyr bird's HP dropped below 19,000. 18,652/180,000. Yet at this time Ling Chen, who could originally continue attacking, stopped attacking and prematurely returned within the cave, glancing at Soul Sacrifice that still had just exactly 60 seconds left to cooldown. The Zephyr bird still has an unactivated wind destruction skill, Nightmare Whirlwind. This destruction skill can induce the chaos of the wind element in a large area around the surroundings, including the space that he is in. If he lets the Zephyr bird activate this skill, then even if he hides in the cave he will still be affected, thus falling one step short of success. And this ultimate skill's triggering condition is when its HP is below 10%. So when the Zephyr bird's HP just barely reached 10%, he stopped attacking, waiting the next round to finish it in one go. 60 seconds passed by very quickly, Moon Shadows and Soul Sacrifice's cooldown times refreshed at the same time. Ling Chen rushed out of the cave, his gaze locking onto the Zephyr bird at the first instant and also locking onto its current health value. 25,252/180,000. The remaining HP was entirely enough for him to clear it under his ultimate attack state. Focusing his gaze on the Zephyr bird, Ling Chen lifted up Sand Blade and Soaring Cloud. Come down, and then, everything can end. As if hearing the calling in his heart, the Zephyr bird still mechanically charged over after seeing Ling Chen appear, even though every time it flew down it would be frozen and then suffer a round of violent attacks. This is the difference between low-intelligence creatures and high-intelligence creatures. This is also the primary reason why creatures of the same level are always stronger than humans, but humans are always able to beat them. I don't think this has anything to do with intelligence anymore. This bird just has no survival instinct. Lunar Scourge's strange light flashed up and once again instantly froze the Zephyr bird's body. Ling Chen lifted up Sand Blade and Soaring Cloud, charging over in a straight line, -4,718, -2,356, -4,720, -2,348, -2,395, -4,782, -2,339, -2380. The scene froze on the spear in Ling Chen's hand. That instant that he used the same movement to cut into the Zephyr bird's body. This is the 4th round of Ling Chen's full power strikes. And before him, the Zephyr bird's health bar had already become empty, being completely emptied by Ling Chen's attacks. The Zephyr bird's shadow disappeared, its body also regained freedom, but it was already unable to move again. The instant that Moon Shadow's effect vanished, it spread its wings, releasing its last cry of sorrow. The green glow on its body dissipated and its body also weakly fell forward in the scattered wind element, dropping in the front of Ling Chen. Ding! You have successfully killed LV-15 Celestial Boss, revived Zephyr bird, Fame plus 1500, SP plus 1500. Ding! Congratulations, you have leveled up, now LV-11, gained 5 AP. This powerful celestial beast that forced Ling Chen into desperate situations numerous times, that even made Ling Chen decide to give up, finally died. The colossal experience of a celestial beast made Ling Chen gain a level even under the effect of heaven's jealousy. His experience rose all the way to 40% of LV-11. The experience given by celestial beasts is huge. At the early stage of the game, single-handedly killing a celestial beast can directly increase one level or even more. But, how many people are there in the world who can actually solo a celestial boss at the early stage of the game? Even if it's Ling Chen, if it weren't for the protection of the celestial aqua scale, the protection of the chasm water, along with the mountain cave and Sagittarius orb that later appeared as if it were fate. Don't mention defeating the Zephyr bird, he probably would have already died under its claws. The stuffiness built up in his chest all rushed out as if having found an outlet of release. Ling Chen watched the Zephyr bird fall over, his vision appeared a moment of haziness. Entering the game for a short few days, another celestial beast that players are unable to beat fell at his hands. All of this was really a bit too dreamlike. Encountering the Zephyr bird, what he bore was incomparably huge pressure and one after another dangerous walks around the edges of death. But now he has killed it. He admits that him being able to kill the Zephyr bird is absolutely not because his strength was stronger than its, but more like the protection of fate. If not for the sudden appearance of the Sagittarius orb, he would have already chosen to log out right now. If not for Xiao Hui, there would not have been the appearance of the Sagittarius orb. And if not for the guardian of the Hall of Heroic Souls giving him a spirit shield orb, Xiao Hui would also not have been born. If not for him finding the mountain wall cave, he would have already died in the water of the chasm. Everything afterwards would not have happened. But then again, being able to use all kinds of items and abilities he possessed and even the surrounding environment to the greatest degree, the most appropriately, in and of itself is a powerful ability. Xiao Hui, this is all your credit. Ling Chen patted Xiao Hui's head, praising him from the bottom of his heart. Today is the first day of birth for Xiao Hui. Right now it has only been not even an hour's time since Xiao Hui was born. And this small period of time made Ling Chen clearly understand how powerful of a partner he'd gained. Even though it does not have any attack ability, but the help that it provides Ling Chen is even greater than that of 10 attack-type pets. The Zephyr bird was soloed by Ling Chen at a difference of an entire 5 levels. Without any doubt, when it died it was accompanied by an extremely flamboyant big explosion. Gold coins, potions and all kinds of items littered the ground. Ling Chen moved forward, picking up all of his rewards and then excitedly taking inventory item after item. Is there anything more exciting than checking the rewards dropped by a defeated celestial boss? Eliminating this powerful opponent after nearly dying. What kind of big rewards will there be? Full body armor is a type of armor where the upper and lower garments are connected and is equivalent to upper garment plus lower garment. Its stats are also greatly superior to a single piece of upper garment or lower garment of the same level and grade. This wind spirit's cloth may be one piece of equipment, but it is entirely the same as 2 pieces of gold equipment. Its value is naturally also extremely high. And this full-body light armor not only adds a very high agility stat, it also increases attack speed. This armor will become the best of the best amongst archer equipment. If the stats are publicized, who knows how many archers it would make drool all over the ground. Wind riding boots, type, boots, grade, gold, equipment requirements, any profession LV15 or above. Boots that hold deep, ethereal wind force. After wearing it you practically cannot feel any sense of weight. Attributes, defense plus 20, agility plus 8, dodge plus 10, movement speed plus 10, wind elemental resistance plus 5%. Another piece of gold gear, moreover it's a pair of boots that adds a whole 10 points of movement speed. For any profession movement speed is always an extremely important attribute, it is also usually only boots/shoes that add movement speed. Ling Chen also immediately decided the owner of this pair of boots. Himself. With item manipulation technique he can equip it when he reaches LV13. Wind Spirit Staff, type, magic staff, long, grade, gold, equipment requirements, any elementalist, priest or summoner class profession LV15 or above. A magic staff that harbors dense wind element, after equipping can buff the effects of wind magic. Attributes, magic attack strength plus 50, spirit plus 15, MP plus 50, all wind class spell damage plus 10%, all wind magic chanting time 20%. The wind spirit staff stats made Ling Chen speechless. Truly a piece of gold equipment, this magic staff will greatly increase the strength of any magic class profession player that gets their hands on it. And if it falls into the hands of a wind class mage, that would simply be too terrifying. They would be able to directly pull far away from players originally of the same level of strength. 4 pieces of equipment, of them 3 are all gold gear, truly the rewards from soloing a celestial boss at a lower level. When Ling Chen held the last item in his hand, a color of amazement flashed across his eyes. This is a long sword with a green crystalline body, as if forged with the highest quality emerald, unbelievably gorgeous. The sword hilt is a moderate size, able to be comfortably held in the hand. The sword blade is 1 meter long, the turquoise-colored crystal looked heavy, but it was actually incredibly light. Even a lot lighter than sand blade. The sword's surface also flashed a fluctuating light green glow. Ling Chen even faintly sensed that there seemed to be currents of air circulating over the blade. Zephyr blade, type, two-handed sword, grade, celestial, equipment requirements, any melee profession level 15 or above. A crystal sword forged from a pure wind elemental crystal. Light and sharp, it harbors within a high density of wind element. When swung it brings up the sound of howling wind and can freely release wind attribute attacks. Attributes: attack plus 110, strength plus 20, hit rate plus 20, attack speed plus 20, when attacking 3% chance of causing the dazed status. Additional attributes: parry judgment, 5, when attacking quickly will bring up a fierce wind pushing back the enemies in front. Additional skills: Zephyr, release the wind element within the Zephyr blade, causing all attacks to convert into wind attribute attacks. Can be activated and deactivated any time. This turquoise-colored sword is actually a celestial sword. At the same time Ling Chen was thrilled, a belated system notification rose up beside his ears. Ding. You have obtained celestial item, Zephyr blade. It will be ranked number 1 in the China region equipment ranking list. Do you need to hide your personal information? No need. Ling Chen tightly held the crystal sword in his hand, directly answering saying. The next second, the China region's equipment ranking list immediately changed. China region equipment ranking list, rank 1, Zephyr blade, type, two-handed sword, grade, celestial, owner, Ling Tian rank 2, soaring cloud, type, spear, grade, celestial, owner, Ling Tian. The entire China region's equipment ranking list in total only has 2 weapons. All belonging to Ling Chen alone. Ling Tian. In a short period of time this name has repeatedly shocked the players of China. The first to obtain a celestial item, the first to leave the novice village, and then obtaining the first pet. And it's actually also a celestial grade pet. Now, he's actually gained another celestial item. If not for the fact that the mystic moon world is opened by the Cosmos Corporation that treats fairness as their lives and is guaranteed by dozens of the world's most powerful countries along with the world's 10 biggest banks, players would first question if this person is a relative of Cosmos Corporation's boss, or if he found some sort of loophole in the game world. But, developing until today, the central CPU of virtual game worlds has already reached a nearly extreme perfection. There simply already no longer exists any so-called loopholes or bugs. Even if they did appear, they would also be immediately patched by the central CPU at the first moment. This has already become general knowledge that is known to all. I don't remember what I translated the company as before. Leave a comment if you guys remember. Then, that just leaves the last explanation. Either this person is blessed by Rangesis, or this person possesses overpowered strength. But bullshit luck will always only ever be a coincidental matter. These actions of repeatedly shocking China and even the entire world, can it really be entirely explained as luck? Clearly not. Then, the explanation can only be the latter. The opening of every new virtual game world will always be accompanied by the appearance of one or multiple dark horses. But the Ling Tian this time, the momentum of the rise of this unfamiliar name is honestly a bit terrifying. All of China's players can already no longer not remember this name, even those high and above massive guilds are also forced to focus more and more attention on the name Ling Tian. Ling Chen. My idol. Truly my only idol. Truly the person that can tie against Eve. You actually obtained another celestial item. My God, how did you do it? Your name has practically exploded. I'd say all of China is talking about you. Even the county's highest leaders also definitely already know your name. Oh right, I still haven't told my little sis your name. She also doesn't know that the savior that I found for her is the currently renowned Ling Tian. If she knew, then she would definitely be thrilled to death. Ling Chen's communication device rang with the voice of Yunfeng's loud cries and shouts. Cough cough, Ling Chen, you have 2 celestial items now, what are your plans for them? Cough cough. You are the warrior profession, I am also the warrior profession. 1 sword, 1 spear, you definitely won't be able to use them both, haha. Once I reach LV10 and get to Azure Dragon City, that, can. Cough cough, can you let me use the one that you're not using? Oh, you can also sell it to me, the price is up to you. A celestial item, just thinking about it makes me buzzed. Hello? Hello? Say something. As long you are willing to agree, I'm willing to be your little bro. And you can also allow you to chase after my lil sis. My lil sis is an absolute beauty, not at all worse compared to your sister. Say it later when you come to Azure Dragon City. Slam. Finishing saying one sentence, Ling Chen very bluntly directly ended the call. Ling Chen was not at all interested in what kind of reaction the appearance of the second celestial item would induce in the outer world. He looked at the Zephyr blade in amazement, hating that he cannot immediately equip it. Truly a celestial item, just the added attack strength is as high as 110, almost triple of the sand blade in his hand. If he equips this sword, his attack strength will once again greatly rise. What was slightly regretful is that the added skill, Zephyr, simply just converts attacks to the wind attribute. Compared to shooting Soaring Cloud, added by Soaring Cloud, it appears a lot more pale and useless in comparison. But, this is just what he thinks at the moment. When he equips this sword, he will know how strong of an additional skill Zephyr is. Even though he has the item manipulation technique, Ling Chen still cannot equip the Zephyr blade right now. He slightly reluctantly put away the Zephyr blade, starting to continue taking inventory of his other spoils. Besides dropping 4 pieces of equipment, the Zephyr bird also dropped 2 scrolls along with 2 little items of unknown uses. Hidden Profession Scroll, Wind Spirit Marksman, Hidden Profession Class Change Scroll, Usage Conditions, Level over LV10, after use can change classes to Hidden Profession Wind Spirit Marksman. After changing to this profession, one can borrow the strength of the wind spirits to greatly enhance their body's agility and movement speed. Arrows shot out are quick as a gale of wind. The extreme of the class's power can shoot out arrows of calamity like a tempest. When level reaches LV50, LV80, and LV100, class will automatically advance. Another big unexpected harvest. This scroll in his hands is actually an incredibly rare and valuable Hidden Profession class change scroll that is entirely a priceless artifact. The number of existing hidden professions is honestly too little. Even if you find traces, getting your hands on it is nearly impossible. How many players are there that look for a hidden profession their whole lives and are unable to find one? How many big wigs with huge power and resources that dream of obtaining a hidden profession but are all unable to do so? Hidden Profession class change scrolls are one way of gaining a hidden profession. As long as one uses this scroll, they will be able to directly change classes to the respective hidden profession. So these scrolls have always been an astronomical price, and there is a price but no market. To obtain this kind of scroll, who knows how lucky one has to be and what hardships and prices they had to experience. Even the people most lacking in cash are also mostly unwilling to sell them to other people. Holding this hidden profession class change scroll, Ling Chen's heart even developed the impulse to use it. Because right now he has the Sagittarius Orb on him, if he changes class to an archer. Moreover, a hidden archer profession, his strength will undoubtedly be way more terrifying than right now. Although, the impulse in his heart was also just an impulse, he wouldn't actually do it. He came to change class to the strongest profession. Of course he would not change to a different profession before that. The other scroll looked more ordinary, like a sheet of white paper. There wasn't any sort of flamboyant glow. Teleportation scroll, trial ground starting point, spatial teleportation scroll, after use will be teleported to the starting point of War God's trial ground. Can only be used once. Wait a sec. This is... Holding this plate, Ling Chen was dazed for a whole 5 seconds. After being surprised, a strange expression silently flashed across his face and then he put it away. This thing is exactly the same as that black wooden plate dropped by the greedy avarice toad before. Which also means that he now already has 2 of these things on him. When the last item, the Zephyr bird dropped, entered his eyes, Ling Chen directly froze. This is actually a key. Key. Rusted key, usage unknown. Ling Chen, if you want to obtain my strength inheritance, then walk to the end of this space and obtain the only key in this space to open the chest that you see. TL, evidently, this is a quote, but I am too lazy to go check if I translated this the same as before, and it's not important, so... Ling Chen's mind played back the old voice that sounded at the starting point of this trial ground. That voice clearly mentioned the only key in this space, meaning in this trial ground there only exists one key. Could it be that this key is that key that can open that metal chest and then allow me to pass this trial? The trial is considered over after killing the Zephyr bird? But I haven't reached the end of the space. Accurately speaking, I've only advanced a very short distance in this space. I already fell down before even passing the first bridge and then was washed over here by the river. Ling Chen held on to this key for a long time, still a bit unable to believe whether this was that key required to pass this trial. But slowly, he then calmed down. Recalling the events that happened after he entered this trial, sighing in his heart. Before entering he anticipated before that this would be a very difficult and also very long trial. Because in his memory, as long as it's a trial there will be a lot of checkpoints set. The content of the trial is to pass one after another checkpoints, and the checkpoints will definitely be each one more difficult than the precious. In this War God's trial, stepping on that bridge was the start of the trial. And then meeting the opponents of the trial. The Zephyr bird also appeared from the very beginning, it only just changed its look later. If this really is the end of the trial, then this trial really also only had the Zephyr bird, this one enemy. Those 2 undead sword page boys were basically foil-like existences. TL, foil, don't know if I used that right. There are no extra checkpoints, this trial's opponent is really just the Zephyr bird. But then again, is this not the true challenge? A person wanting to defeat a LV-15 celestial beast under extremely unfavorable circumstances that can even fly is itself already an almost impossible test. This kind of test is also already entirely enough. With War God's level he also couldn't be bothered to set up unnecessary things. Did I really succeed? Successfully complete this trial that made 6 amazing geniuses die within 1,000 years. Besides the items the Zephyr bird dropped, Ling Chen's bag also has a good number of items dropped by the 2 undead sword page boys and the undead Zephyr bird. 1 LV-15 silver wind chaser bow, 1 LV-15 silver two-handed sword, 1 LV-15 silver equipment electrum bracers, 1 LV-15 silver colored spear, 1 LV-15 copper page boy robe. A decent number, but evidently incomparable to the items dropped by the Zephyr bird. This is the massive difference between Lord bosses and Celestial bosses. Although if he takes out this equipment it can still create a big ripple amongst players. For the majority of players right now, copper is already godly equipment and silver is still a legendary existence. Ling Chen was honestly too far ahead of them. I say electrum, but the translation really is just something like gold embedded bracers, which sounds like crap and I couldn't think of or find anything better. If you search up electrum, you'll find that the combination of this being a silver-grade equipment and having gold in it seems pretty fitting. Xiao Hui arrived at the Zephyr bird's corpse wagging its tail, opening its mouth wide and spraying out a gray light enveloping the Zephyr bird's corpse. In a bit, the Zephyr bird's corpse atomized, being completely and entirely sucked into Xiao Hui's mouth. During the process of digesting the Zephyr bird's power, a series of level-up halos continuously floated up from Xiao Hui's head. Ding! Your pet Holy Spirit beast, Xiao Hui, has successfully risen to LV2, HP plus 200, MP plus 5, Defense plus 20. Ding! Your pet Holy Spirit beast, Xiao Hui, has successfully risen to LV3, HP plus 200, MP plus 5, Defense plus 20. Ding! Your pet Holy Spirit beast, Xiao Hui, has successfully risen to LV8, HP plus 200, MP plus 5, Defense plus 20. Devouring a LV15 Celestial Beast at a LV2 state, Xiao Hui's level rose sharply in a short period of time. Jumping to LV8 from LV1 in the blink of an eye. Holy Spirit Beast, Xiao Hui type, Beast Pet, Level, LV8, Grade, Celestial. Attributes, HP, 3600, MP, 90, Physical Attack Strength, 1, Magic Attack Strength, 1, Physical Defense, 360, Hit Rate, 1, Dodge Rate, 1, Critical Hit Rate, 50%, Pierce Rate, 50%, Movement Speed, 300. The stats of Xiao Hui that matured to LV8 made Ling Chen secretly speechless. Its LV8 health value reaches 3600, defense strength reaches 360. This is absolutely for sure 100% not HP and defense attributes that a regular celestial pet can possess. Even heaven-end pets also cannot possess such stats. And besides the values on the surface, Xiao Hui also has a most overpowered passive defense skill, Holy Spirit Shield, that Ling Chen has ever seen in his life. He couldn't help but think that if Xiao Hui could fight, then how strong of a meat shield would it be? Even the Zephyr bird from before shouldn't even have the ability to insta-kill the current Xiao Hui. Burp, the eyes of Xiao Hui that finished devouring finally completely opened, its body shaking for an instant, seemingly burping. It shook its head, another burp sound. Instantly, a dark green-colored, rock-like item was coughed out from its mouth, landing on the ground. Xiao Hui's eyes brightened, hurriedly running over and picking up that green little rock with its mouth, cutely placing it in front of Ling Chen. Devouring a couple of regular LV10 creatures, the plant fairies, before it refined out a permanent stat bonus item. What will appear now after devouring a celestial beast? Ling Chen bent his waist, picking up this dark green rock. Wind Chaser Stone, Type, Energy Crystal, Grade, Advanced, Attribute, Wind, Effect, Movement Speed plus 15. After devouring the Zephyr bird, what Xiao Hui spit out was actually an energy crystal. It actually even refined out an energy crystal. Moreover, this energy crystal is not a regular energy crystal, at least it definitely cannot be bought in shops. Its property is adding a whole 15 points of movement speed. Adding even more than the LV15 wind riding boots that Ling Chen just got. Refining out an advanced energy crystal from a LV15 celestial creature. If it devours a higher level, or higher grade creature, could it spit out an energy orb? Ling Chen once again looked towards Xiao Hui in shock, staring at Xiao Hui that's appearance looks completely harmless and wondering exactly how many shocking secrets it is hiding. An advanced energy crystal, Ling Chen naturally unhesitatingly slotted it into Lunar Scourge. Even though the Wind Chaser Stone and the Elementary Speed Crystal both increase movement speed, their ways of increasing are different, so they do not conflict. Under the stacking of the Wind Chaser Stone and the Elementary Speed Crystal, Ling Chen's movement speed reached 132. A value that is definitely above that of normal players. Ling Chen checked the surroundings. After confirming that he did not miss anything, he tightly held that rusted key the Zephyr bird dropped, holding up the teleportation scroll that goes back to the starting point. He was just about to crush the scroll when an untimely soft seductive voice that made his entire body uncontrollably numb sounded beside his ear. "Little Master, I think I sense the aura of the Sagittarius Orb." Huh? Black light rising up, an incredibly enchanting female body appeared before Ling Chen. Chi Yu's eyes were half opened, the peerless beautiful face still remained a bit of blankness from just waking up from sleep. Her entire body carried a sort of lovely to look at lazy beauty. At least, when Ling Chen saw her, his gaze stopped on her body for a long time before difficulty moving away. He was unable to not admit that regardless if it is intentional or not, this woman emitted a devil-like allure sufficient enough to instantly light up the fire of lust in men. Chi Yu moved her feet, delicately and gracefully walking towards him. When her gaze landed upon Lunar Scourge, her misty sleepiness dissipated in an instant. What replaced it was deep astonishment. The Sagittarius Orb? She still slightly couldn't believe that what was embedded in the ninth hole was actually the Sagittarius Orb. "Just found it," Ling Chen said a bit helplessly. "Looks like I really can't rely on Chi Yu to find the exclusive orbs. Her sensitivity towards those orbs is indeed extremely limited. It's already slotted back onto Lunar Scourge and she didn't even sense it at the first moment." The surprise in Chi Yu's expression lasted for a long time before gradually disappearing. She glanced at the surrounding environment, revealing an unmatchable charming smile towards Ling Chen. "Little Master, you've really made me so surprised. Actually finding the Sagittarius Orb this quickly. Truly the person that can subdue Lunar Scourge. How should I thank Little Master?" Chi Yu's smiling face was like a beautiful flower, but the depths of her heart were stirring with deep shock. She knows very well in her heart how difficult it is to find Lunar Scourge's exclusive orbs. Being able to use an average of 10 years' time to find one orb is already extremely idealistic. Yet, right now it has only been not even 1 day's time since leaving the bottom of the chasm. The Sagittarius Orb has actually already been found. And in this time Chi Yu was in a state of deep sleep, completely unaware of what has already happened. Finding an exclusive orb in not even 1 day, if this is luck, then that's practically luck as big as the skies. Chi Yu was evidently the second living person that Xiao Hui saw after being born. Facing her gaze, Xiao Hui's feet shuffled backwards, nervously hiding behind Ling Chen, 2 black eyes cautiously and timidly staring at her. Ling Chen's gaze lowered, lightly saying, "No need to be nervous, Xiao Hui, she's not a bad person." Xiao Hui can understand human language. At least it can understand him, this Ling Chen could confirm. Although he couldn't quite confirm exactly whether or not Chi Yu was a good person. But at least right now she doesn't appear like a bad person. Besides constantly trying to tease him. Listening to Ling Chen's words, Xiao Hui's action slightly relaxed. Chi Yu stared at Xiao Hui for a good while, actually unable to determine what kind of being it belongs to, having no choice but to slightly lift her head and say towards Ling Chen, "Little Master, can you let me see its abilities? This should be that little creature that Tao Tai, that big guy, handed over to you, but I am actually unable to determine its origin. Let me see its data, maybe I'll have an answer." Ling Chen though for a bit, sharing Xiao Hui's information in front of Chi Yu. Because he also really wanted to know Xiao Hui's true origin. The pet egg that Tao Tai entrusted to him was at least from over 10,000 years ago. Chi Yu has also already existed since 10,000 years ago. She might really know what Xiao Hui belongs to. Chi Yu's gaze lingered over Xiao Hui's info. When she finished looking at its stats, her expression did not change at all, but when her gaze landed on its ability information, her expression clearly froze many times, the depths of eye constantly flashing across bursts of surprise. Clearly being shocked about the powerful and extraordinary abilities Xiao Hui possesses. What can you tell? When Qiyu finished looking at Xiao Hui's information, Ling Chen put away Xiao Hui's stat page and directly asked. Qiyu was silent for a long time, seemingly thinking of something, but in the end she still shook her head. In my memory there is not any information regarding it. From what Tao Tai that big guy said, it should have a very big background, but the big guy was not willing to mention it to me. Should be that the beast that entrusted Xiao Hui to the big guy didn't hope for its background to be revealed, and then it could live a bit more peacefully. Little Master, after knowing of Xiao Hui's abilities you should have understood how shocking its abilities are. Have you imagined what the result would be if its abilities are known by more and more people? Ling Chen. TL, that's new, an unbelievably tough body, peerless support ability. Soul devour and refining abilities that make people amazed to the point that they are unable to believe it, and also able to accurately search for all kinds of high-grade treasures. If Forgotten Continents people knew that this kind of creature existed, then no matter who they would all madly dream of obtaining it. After martial artists that chase after extreme strength obtain Xiao Hui, their strength will greatly increase, even skills that were originally unable to be upgraded can be easily upgraded. A regular martial artist can obtain all types of powerful items through its soul devour refining ability and have their strength rise explosively. After people that chase after great wealth obtain Xiao Hui, they can use it to easily find all kinds of rare treasure that they could only dream of before. And these are also all just Xiao Hui's initial abilities after just being born. If it fully matures, then it's practically unimaginable. If Xiao Hui's existence and the abilities it possesses were to be exposed to others, then the only result would be. It would bring about countless people of greed to come and rob him. Have you thought clearly now? Paying attention to Ling Chen's expression, Qiyu slowly said, so, the beast that entrusted it to Tao Tai does not hope for its existence to be known by too many people. Or else, it will not have peace for its entire life and could even lose its life in the fight for it. Like that the bloodline of their clan could completely end. Ling Chen was silent and then nodded his head, it is indeed like that. Although, Qiyu's eyes slightly narrowed, an extremely attractive red blush appearing on her cheeks, a portion of its abilities made me think of a creature that had already become extinct in a faraway time. What? Ling Chen asked. The Beast of Luck. Beast of Luck? The Beast of Luck is a very particular creature. It does not have any combat ability, but legend goes that if one can obtain the accompaniment of a Beast of Luck, then this person will always be accompanied by all kinds of big or small luck. Just like, Little Master finding the Sagittarius Orb this quickly, isn't that exactly a kind of incredibly great luck? Ling Chen, TL, and we're back. What is evil is the human heart. What brings humans war and disaster is their own greed, that has nothing to do with those creatures of luck that don't have any combat ability and on the contrary give people good fortune. Ling Chen said frowning. Amazingly, said Little Master. Qiyu slightly pursed her lips, lightly nodding her head, but the reality of the beasts of luck becoming extinct cannot be changed. As the messengers of God, if moon god oracles believe that they are correct, then they are definitely correct. How can humans go against the will of the moon god? Since they say that the beasts of luck are wrong, then the beasts of luck are wrong. Since they want the beasts of luck to become extinct, then, the entire race of the beasts of luck will become extinct. It's just that simple. This is the great moon god clan. Qiyu laughed, but a deep light of coldness slightly flickered in the depths of her eyes. Ling Chen was speechless for a time, not knowing what he should say. He'd always faintly sensed that Qiyu seemed to have a deep hatred towards the moon god clan. In addition, this hatred doesn't seem to be simply because of Lunar Scourge. Although, its appearance is not the same as the already extinct beasts of luck, a lot of abilities are also not what the beasts of luck possess. But if Doge really has the ability of the beasts of luck, then Little Master has gained an incredible treasure. Little Master will have constant good fortune. Lunar Scourge's orbs might not even need to be purposely looked for and will appear on their own. Chi-Yu's beautiful eyes gently narrowed. When she spoke, a scent like jasmines and orchids gently kissed Ling Chen's face, making his entire body uncontrollably numb, his heart constantly rippling with the impulse to rip apart her black dress. Looks like, the big guy really gave Little Master a really big gift. Finishing speaking, Chi-Yu stretched her arms, lazily doing a stretch. This action of hers made the two breasts in front of her chest highly perked up, a wave of up and down shaking along with her slender, delicate slim waist, snow-white, tender, round perky butt, smooth soft abdomen, graceful and beautiful well-proportioned legs, together drew out a curvaceous curve that made the blood pressure of people skyrocket. And then matched with her beautiful face that is enough to make all of the flowers in the world lose color and the erotic seduction that she emits with her every movement, there really is not a single part of her that doesn't make people driven to distraction. Ling Chen's gaze uncontrollably landed on her highly perked-up bosom, in his head the feeling and scenery that wouldn't go away of holding them in his hands at that time. Chi-Yu's twin peaks were not only extremely plump and snow-white like jade, the shape of her breasts is also a perfect roundness. Snow-white and exquisite. Like having two bright, perfect full moons perched in front of her chest, the shape is too beautiful to be taken in all at once. And it just so happens that her slim waist that can be grasped with one arm, her waist delicate and soft like it was woven from fine fabric, gave people the feeling of a type of gentle beauty, making people want to embrace her in their arms and lovingly take care of her. Little Master, you're looking at my breasts and staring. Is it that you want to touch them again? Ling Chen's out-of-control gaze made Chi-Yu's smile become intimate. She took a step forward, her eyes smiling and her lips releasing a bewitching voice like the devil. You're my Little Master, however you treat me is okay, go back to Lunar Scourge, there's none of your business here anymore. Shifting his gaze away bit by bit in difficulty, Ling Chen closed his eyes, saying with a cold voice. At an angle that Ling Chen cannot see, Chi-Yu's smile became a bit more mysterious. She pursed her lips, releasing a voice of grievance like that of a little girl acting in a pettishly charming manner. Little Master is shooing me away again. I am Little Master's little slave, I will obey whatever Little Master says. Then I'm going back now to continue sleeping. Remember to think of me. Chi-Yu did not stop any longer. The amount of time she can appear every day added together is also only 10 minutes. Every time Chi-Yu appears is always a pretty big test on Ling Chen's mind. After Chi-Yu left, Ling Chen used a decent amount of time before completely stabilizing his mood. He then held up the teleportation scroll. The Zephyr bird dropped, lightly crushing it and disappearing on the spot together with Xiao Hui in a flash of white light. When he appeared again, the surrounding light was a mass of grayness. This place was impressively the dark stone room that he was in when he first entered this trial ground. Sound of lock turning and then unlocking. After a light sound, the tightly shut metal chest opened at the sound under Ling Chen's gaze. Success! Ling Chen shouted in his heart. The rusted key dropped by the Zephyr bird is exactly the one that War God's voice mentioned. Which also means that killing the Zephyr bird is equivalent to passing the trial. Opening the chest, Ling Chen was just about to go and see what was in the chest when a mass of dark-colored light accompanied by a strange aura suddenly came out from the chest, making Ling Chen subconsciously take a few steps back. The light released from the chest hovered in the air, gradually depicting the form of an aged old man's upper body. The old man's face is entirely unclear. It occurred to Ling Chen right away that this should be the image of War God during that time. Very good, a person has finally passed the trial I left behind. No, maybe I should say, someone has actually passed this trial. Ling Chen, someone has actually passed this trial. What does that mean? Is it that you didn't even prepare to let people pass this trial you set? You're probably very shocked about this line of mine, right? Hee hee. Actually, if the me right now was still alive, I'd also be shocked that you actually passed this trial. This trial that even I did not think that anyone could pass. Because wanting a LV-15 or below human to defeat a LV-15 celestial beast under an extremely unfavorable environment is something that nobody would think could be done by a person. I believe that even the me of that time with extremely high talent would also be unable to do it at LV-15 or below. But, I still did not change the difficulty of the trial because I longed for a prodigy of extraordinary talent. A true genius that can break through the limits of a human to appear. Even though I did not know whether or not such a person would exist or appear, I still could not stop this longing of mine. Because only this kind of person has the possibility to accomplish the goal that I strive towards my entire life but did not achieve. Becoming the first human to reach Saint Destroyer. Ling Chen, you've done it. I am unable to know what method you used, even if you had the help of some sort of powerful item or had incredible luck, you still did it in the end. I am very willing to pass on the power that I left behind at the end of my life to a prodigy like you. I believe that you will definitely use this power to the most extreme strength. And even surpass me. I am a martial arts extremist, my entire life I have been living to chase after the most extreme strength. I hope that the you who has inherited my strength will also be able to inherit and complete my dying wish, one day touching the Saint Destroyer level that humans are unable to reach, becoming the true War God as the first human to break through the limits of humans. In War God's voice a gray-colored scroll slowly floated out from the chest, drifting in Ling Chen's direction. Ling Chen reached out his arm, grabbing it in his hand. This is the special scroll sealed with the last of my power. All you need to do is crush it and the power within will seep into your body becoming your own strength. But my power does not pass on to those of mediocrity, so this scroll can only be used in this space and cannot be given to a person after bringing it out. If you are above inheriting my strength then you can put back this scroll and then there will naturally be a force to send you away from here. After using this scroll sealed with the last of my strength, you will also possess the beginner profession that is the carrier of this power. I once named the ultimate form of this profession as God Slayer, because my entire life I have been striving to be able to reach the level of slaying gods. But this class name is great blasphemy towards the mighty Moon God clan, so it cannot be actually used. But then again, what we chase after is powerful strength, what the profession is called and not important at all. You are about to change class to the beginner profession, let's just have you name it yourself. I only desire for my strength to be able to help you reach the peak that I once dreamed to set foot on. Then, if you are willing to inherit my strength, then crush the scroll in your hand, let the last bit of my soul be able to feel my own strength being passed down. War God's voice slowly died away, everything fell into silence. Ling Chen held the scroll in his hand. Saying this he wasn't excited would be a lie. The Hall of Heroic Souls has been established for 1,000 years, but never has there been a person able to obtain War God's inheritance. In 1,000 years, 6 stunning geniuses have even died in this trial. Before entering here, no matter if it was the class trainers or the guardian of the Hall of Heroic Souls, they all extremely seriously told him that he absolutely cannot choose this trial. This was simply a trial that could not be passed. But under the powerful effect of soul sacrifice, under the blessing of fortune, he succeeded. Becoming the only person to pass War God's trial after the appearance of the Hall of Heroic Souls. Right now, he is even holding War God inheritance power in his hands. The Hall of Heroic Souls guardian very assuredly replied to him that this will be one of the most powerful professions. Its power is superior to any one of the other 10 powerful hidden profession of the Hall of Heroic Souls. Hidden Profession Scroll, War God's Inheritance, Usage Requirements, Person approved by War God and can only be used in War God's trial ground. After use will inherit War God's strength changing class to the respective beginner profession. Profession name can be freely named, but due to the fact that this is power that originates from War God's soul, you need to add the 2 words, Battle Soul, at the end of the profession. The general abilities and direction of this profession are unknown, but in War God's life the most apex power was the greatest pursuit of his entire life, thus all his abilities walked the attack route, so this profession also walks the pure attack route. It almost does not touch upon any support or defense abilities. A pure attack-only route. No support or defense ability. And is this not also exactly what Ling Chen has always been seeking? From the very start, Ling Chen put all of the AP gained from leveling up all into strength, not a single point was split to constitution or agility. The reason, is it not precisely to pursue the ultimate's attack strength? Not thinking anymore, he steadied his mind, slowly crushing the gray-colored scroll in his hand. Instantly, a mass of gray light spilt out from the crushed scroll, slowly landing on Ling Chen's body and seeping into his body. A surge of raging power swept across every part of Ling Chen's body. Ding! You have successfully received War God Strength Inheritance, about to change class to the new class, Original Class, Apprentice Warrior gone, Original Class Skills, Full Power Strike, Crescent Slash, and Fire of Rage gone. Please name the new class. Because the new power originates from War God's soul, the two words, Battle Soul, need to be added at the end of the profession. Class skills will also be named based on the self-designated class name. The arrival of a new class will definitely cause the original class to disappear. What disappears naturally also includes the class skills. Full Power Strike, Crescent Slash, and Fire of Rage were all max-level skills. Just disappearing like this honestly made Ling Chen a bit pained, but the strongest profession according to the Guardian of the Hall of Heroic Souls, no matter what its class skills should be stronger than the apprentice warriors, right? Ling Tian, pondering for a short moment, Ling Chen shouted out his name in this world. The new class, he used his own name to name it. Ding! New profession Ling Tian Battle Soul, successfully named. Ding! You have successfully changed class to the hidden profession Ling Tian Battle Soul, HP plus 220, MP plus 110, Physical Attack Strength plus 50, for big basic attributes plus 10, SP plus 100. In a flashing white light the new profession was successfully added to Ling Chen. He then extended his arms, silently feeling the power flowing through his entire body. Ling Tian Battle Soul, this is the new profession named after himself and is also the beginner class state of War God's inherited power. The stats added when changing class made Ling Chen surprised and thrilled. Adding a whole 50 points of attack strength at once, this is the same as the attack strength added by a LV-15 gold grade weapon. It is the same as the attack strength temporarily added by a max level, Fire of Rage. Each of the 4 basic attributes were increased by 10 points, a total of 40 points. The same as attribute points that can only be gained after consecutively leveling up 8 levels. After regular classes change classes they will usually all add a relatively large amount of HP and MP, the increase of attributes is very little. Who knows how many more times the attribute points added by War God's profession is compared to regular professions. Just this one point made Ling Chen clearly see the extreme strength of this class. Ding! You have successfully unlocked Ling Tian Battle Soul's class skills, War God Technique, Ling Tian Slash, Ling Tian Burst, for corners star formation, Battle Soul Possession. Following the notification sounding up again, Ling Tian Battle Souls, class information page automatically appeared in front of Ling Chen. Ling Tian Battle Soul, a special class born from inheriting War God's soul force, named by player Ling Tian. This class chases after the most powerful attack strength. The characteristics of all class skills is that they all exist to reach extreme attack strength. Possesses extremely powerful destructive power but does not have any support, defense or CC ability. Class talent, immune to all abnormal statuses that can cause physical attack strength and ability to drop. Basic attribute effects, 1 strength equals 2 physical attack strength, 1 constitution equals 10 HP plus 1 defense, 1 agility equals 1 point of hit rate plus 1 point of dodge, 1 spirit equals 2 magic attack strength plus 10 MP adds 20 points of HP, 20 points of MP and 5 AP with every level up. 5 AP will be forcibly added onto the strength attribute. Class skills, War God Technique, current level, LV1, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV2, 1000. Powerful battle technique originating from War God's soul force, after practice can greatly increase personal attack strength permanently. Effect, strength increases by X points, physical attack strength increased by 3*X, X equals current level. Ling Tian / current level, LV1, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV2, 200. Using the weapon in the hand to attack a single enemy, suddenly releasing the strength of the battle's soul the instant you hit the enemy, dealing devastating damage towards the opponent. Effect, single target attack, damage is equal to 200% of regular attacks, critical hit chance plus 5%, 5% chance of stunning for 3 to 5 seconds, very big chance of pushing back the target, MP consumption, 15, cooldown time, 0, Ling Tian burst, current level, LV1, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV2, 200. Pouring the battle's soul power into the weapon, instantly releasing it when slashing forward, creating a power explosion in a small area, attacking all targets in a 5-meter area in front, damage is equal to 100% of regular attacks, MP consumption, 20, cooldown time, 0. At the same time as the new class was added, it also unlocked 5 whole abilities. 1 passive, 4 active. Truly the class originating from War God, every skill is so powerful that they make people's eyes pop. War God Technique can increase strength and attack with the upgrading of his level, moreover the max level of this War God Technique is LV10, if it reaches max level then its effect will definitely be cheat level, even not below the ancient battle technique, Heaven Wine Technique, that he possesses. Ling Tian / is a powerful single target attack, under a LV1 state its lethality is already superior to the max level full power strike. Ling Tian burst is a group attack, even though under a LV1 state its power is inferior to a max level crescent slash, the number of attack targets is not limited, moreover the initial area is already able to envelop the frontal 5-meter area. Four Corners Star Formation is a powerful AoE attack. It is also the Battle Soul Profession's unique skill. At the initial state it is already able to envelop a 10-meter area around him, the damage is not inferior to shooting Soaring Cloud. If it reaches max level, how terrifying the damage would be is practically unimaginable. The last skill, Battle Soul Possession. Imagine it, soul sacrifice matched with Battle Soul Possession and then an ultimate skill, how terrifying of a damage value would that deal? If a critical hit also appears, then it might even be able to insta-kill a Lord Boss of the same level. The Battle Soul Profession's powerfulness made Ling Chen amazed, but at the same time the stronger the profession, the harder its class skills are to upgrade. The upgrade points for the 3 attack skills are a lot greater compared to the common skill upgrade points of regular classes, and the level cap of the 3 skills are all as high as LV10. Who knows how many skill points need to be expended to reach max level. War God Technique and Battle Soul Possession both require SP in the thousands to upgrade from the initial level to LV2. When Ling Chen just finished looking through all of the Battle Soul Profession skills, a notification sound suddenly rose up beside his ears, ding. Under the effect of your pet, Holy Spirit Beast Sasha Gray's innate skill, Holy Spirit Gift, your skills, War God Technique, Ling Tian / Ling Tian Burst, Four Corners Star Formation, Battle Soul Possession, have all upgraded to LV2. TL, yeah, someone suggested that in the others of the poll and I couldn't resist, don't worry, it's just for fun. I had a good laugh, thank you whoever suggested this. By the way, don't search her up unless you're 18 plus, at least don't watch any videos. War God Technique, current level, LV2, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 2000. Powerful battle technique originating from War God's soul force, after practice can greatly increase personal attack strength permanently. Effect: strength increases by 2*x points, physical attack strength increased by 5*x, x equals current level. Ling Tian / current level, LV2, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 400. Using the weapon in the hand to attack a single enemy, suddenly releasing the strength of the battle's soul the instant you hit the enemy, dealing devastating damage towards the opponent. Effect: single target attack, damage is equal to 210% of regular attacks, critical hit chance plus 5%, 5% chance of stunning for 3 to 5 seconds, very big chance of pushing back the target, MP consumption, 15, cooldown time, 0, Ling Tian burst, current level, LV2, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 300. Pouring the battle's soul power into the weapon, instantly releasing it when slashing forward, creating a power explosion in a small area, attacking all targets in a 5-meter area in front, damage is equal to 110% of regular attacks, MP consumption, 20, cooldown time, 0, for corners star formation, current level, LV2, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 500. Using the power of the battle's soul to sweep the surroundings, instantly forming a formation of destruction in a 10-meter radius around yourself. The raging battle's soul power will deal devastating damage towards all targets within the formation. Damage is equal to 350% of regular damage, critical hit rate plus 5%, 100% chance to trigger knockback, MP consumption, 100, cooldown time, 60 seconds. Battle soul possession, current level, LV2, highest level, LV5, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 3000. Igniting the battle soul, releasing all of your strength, causing you next attack to possess the most extreme destructive power. Effect: damage plus 100% for next attack, MP consumption, 50, cooldown time, 30 seconds. Towards skills gained in the future, Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit gift will directly take effect, directly upgrading all of Ling Chen's battle soul skills to LV2. The power the 3 upgraded attack skills all increased, the strength value and attack strength added by War God technique greatly increased. And battle soul possession, even though the SP required to upgrade it is the most, upgrading one time made its effect increase by a whole fold. Very good, I can sense that you have already successfully inherited the power that I left behind. I am very gratified. I hope my power can let you become another War God. I also believe that with your talent you can grow the strength that I left behind to a level that surpasses me. The old voice slowly died away, the figure floating above the metal chest also became a lot fainter. Right when Ling Chen thought that the last of War God's soul was about to fade away, another item slowly floated out from within the metal chest. This is a black-colored item, the shape is irregular. At the same time the old voice once again rose up. Human that has inherited my strength, lastly, I have an item to give you. This is an item that has no use towards you, and has no use towards anybody, but is my most important item in my life. I hope that you can take good care of it in my place. Even though it really can't do anything to help you and could instead bring calamity to you. In War God's voice that black item slowly floated to the front of Ling Chen. Ling Chen extended his arms, grabbing it in his hands. The instant it entered his hands, an unexpected heavy weight overcame him. Ling Chen's 2 arms abruptly dropped, with a bam. This black item that just touched his hands has already fallen onto the ground, even smashing a deep hole in the ground. So heavy. What is this? Ling Chen was astonished. When it just entered his hands, the heavy feeling beyond expectations made him simply unable to hold it steadily. Ling Chen crouched down, examining this black item on the ground. Only when he got close by did he notice that it was not a pure black color. The black color was also covered with a layer of dark red. This kind of heavy dark red made him think of the color of high-density blood after it's dried. TL, high density as in lots of red blood cells. I think at least. The form of its left and right sides are straight, hiding a sharpness. The top and bottom parts are a slight saw shape, very irregular. At first glance, it's like one of the parts of the sword blade of a giant sword after being broken into many pieces. Completely useless towards me, but is war god's most valuable treasure in his life. What could this be? Shura Emperor Sword Broken Piece 2. Ling Chen. This is. As you see, this is a portion of the sword blade of a sword after it's been broken. The sword that it belongs to is called Shura Emperor Sword. You definitely have not heard of this name before. At this day there also shouldn't be that many people that still remember this name. This sword was once the strongest sword ever that shook the world. The amount of life that has died from it is at a point that you simply cannot imagine. The reason it was able to grow to become the strongest sword is because it drank too much blood. That number is enough to make true gods deeply tremble. And this strongest sword belongs to history's strongest person. His strength exceeds your imagination. Even though the him of that time could already no longer be called human, but his nature was actually still a human. His name was Shura. Ling Chen. Now the number of people that still remember the name Shura are already very few. People that know that he used the Shura Emperor Sword to massacre the world are even fewer. Shura perished 10,000 years ago. Shura Emperor Sword also perished with him, never to reappear again. I spent my entire life going through untold hardships before finding one of the pieces of the Shura Emperor Sword. This is also the only item I've obtained that comes from Shura. Even though what Shura brought to the world was great disaster and he was thousands of millions of times scarier than the devil, but the strength that he possessed was something that even gods feared. That is truly being strong. Strength enough to look down on the world and defy the heavens. That is also the goal of me, this martial arts extremist that I've longed for even until death. But sadly, until the day that I died, the distance between me and him was still that of night and day. I may have been called war god, but compared to Shura I couldn't even be considered a firefly under the sun and moon. I have always been stashing this broken piece, never letting other people know and also not daring to let other people know. If it is accidentally known by the Moon God clan, it might bring about the punishment of destruction. But I would rather risk bearing the danger of being punished by the Moon God than throw it away. Because it is the Shura Emperor Sword of the past. Shura is the person that I most admired in my life. At the same time, he is also my ancestor. This war god whose name shook all of forgotten world in the past is actually the descendant of that Shura. To chase after the pinnacle that my ancestor once reached, I was infatuated with the martial path my entire life. From small I left my family. At middle age I had already forgotten who my parents even were. I especially wouldn't have descendants. This piece of ancestor's sword was the only mental support in my life. Even if I lost my life I wouldn't abandon it. And the only one who I can entrust it with is also only you. Ancestor's sword has already been destroyed, never to reappear again. I hope the you who has inherited my strength can take care of it for me. Do not let even the last trace of ancestor having existed in this world vanish. I understand. Even though he knows that this is just the spirit voice left behind by War God, and no matter what Ling Chen says he will not hear it, he still promised aloud. He then put away the Shura Emperor Sword's broken piece into his bag. The Shura Emperor Sword, the once strongest sword, and I have consecutively obtained 2 pieces of this sword's broken pieces in a short period of time. Is this also good luck brought by Xiao Hui? But what made Ling Chen astonished is that the last of War God's soul seems to still have an active consciousness, actually understanding his words and responding, "Very good, thank you for willingly risking the danger of being punished by the Moon God clan and safe-keeping it for me. My remaining time is already very little, let me send you away now." I believe that one day Forgotten Continent will tremble because of you. War God's voice became completely fuzzy, a mass of light green light wrapped Ling Chen's body, carrying him and slowly disappearing in this space. Right at the instant when Ling Chen and War God's silhouette were about to disappear at virtually the same time, a confused and shaky voice suddenly traveling into his ears, "Wait. This power on your body," the space switched, Ling Chen finally completely left War God's trial ground. What traveled into his ears seemed to be War God's voice, but it also seemed to be just an illusion. While he was deeply bewildered in disbelief, Ling Chen's body slowly appeared in front of the middle pillar in a circle of warm light. At the same time, the Hall of Heroic Souls middle pillar bearing War God's power also completely disappeared, vanishing without a trace. Looking at Ling Chen who was standing in front of him again, this previously cold person to the point that he practically didn't have any emotions was actually so shocked that he couldn't speak. My choice was not wrong, War God's trial, I passed it. Ling Chen grinned, saying to him. Ling Chen didn't need to explain, him being able to be teleported here and the disappearance of the middle pillar were all ironclad proof. The guardian of the Hall of Heroic Souls started to re-evaluate the young man before his eyes, remembering his appearance and special features in his heart. Before Ling Chen entered the trial, he used his own method to give him help, hoping for him to be able to pass this trial that no one had passed in 1,000 years. But in the depths of his heart, he was still unable to believe that Ling Chen could actually pass. Because the strength that Ling Chen displayed was honestly too weak, all of the prodigies that died in War God's trial in the past were all far superior to him. But the result, so shockingly, appeared before him. War God's power that lingered in the Hall of Heroic Souls for 1,000 years, at today was finally able to be passed on. The person that inherited it, is also an otherworld human who has only come to this world and matured for a couple days. And thinking of him being approved by all 11 powers, the scene at that time caused him to still be in shock even right now. This is a man with such an astounding talent and future. You created a miracle. He opened his mouth saying. He thought for a long time, but he could only say this kind of feeble sentence. Ling Chen lightly smiled, saying sincerely, "This is thanks to your help, or else I would have already died many times in the trial." Finishing speaking, he took out the celestial aqua scale the Hall of Heroic Souls guardian gave him. The celestial aqua scale that can be used 5 times for protection has already been used 4 times by Ling Chen, with just the last chance remaining. At the same time, the help that he gave Ling Chen was not just a celestial aqua scale. If not for the spirit shield orb he gave him, Ling Chen didn't know when he would be able to hatch Xiao Hui, and he especially would not have obtained the Sagittarius Orb. Defeating the Zephyr bird would have then become an impossible task. The black-clothed person's gaze scanned the celestial aqua scale, slowly saying, "This is something I gained when I killed an aqua fish king. It being able to achieve this kind of effect can be considered its honor. War God is the publicly accepted strongest human in human history, even though your strength belongs to the player level that is at the very bottom of the scale, but being able to obtain his power inheritance, I believe that one day you will stand at the peak of all of Forgotten Continent. Just like now, you who as a player has already completed a task that Forgotten Continent's countless geniuses have been unable to accomplish in 1,000 years." His voice pausing, the black-clothed person looked towards the middle pillar that had already vanished, saying, "I didn't think that I would actually be able to personally see War God's strength being passed on. This could also be considered my honor. Young man, take this." A wide-bladed greatsword appeared in the black-clothed person's hand, handing it over to Ling Chen. "This is the sword of War God. It was once known by the entire world. It accompanied War God for hundreds of years and had already developed spirituality. After War God passed on, it also followed War God and left, dispersing all of its strength and turning into a completely regular sword. Take this sword and then go and see the mayor. This will be your proof of passing War God's trial." The mayor once said that if a person can pass War God's trial, then to notify him at the first moment. Also, when you go see the mayor, bring this note over to him too. He is currently being distressed by a difficult matter. This war god's sword and this note might give him confidence to hand this matter over to you. If you really can complete it, then the mayor will remember your kindness and will generously repay you. This will be a great help for you being in Forgotten Continent. Ling Chen took over war god's sword and the note at the same time. War god's sword, type, two-handed sword, grade, pale white, equipment requirements, cannot equip. The Sword of Forgotten Continent's once most powerful war god, because of unknown reasons it has lost all of its strength. Cannot be equipped. Attribute, attack strength +5. Hall of Heroic Souls Guardian's note, a note written by the Hall of Heroic Souls Guardian, please give it to the Azure Dragon Mayor, will directly disappear after discarding it. Those 7 people have been waiting outside the whole time, you should go see them and then have them bring you to go see the mayor. I need to guard here and cannot leave. The Hall of Heroic Souls Guardian calmly said. Ling Chen did not say anything else, putting away War God's sword and the note, walking in the direction of the Hall of Heroic Souls exit. At the Hall of Heroic Souls door, the 7 class trainers were already about to fall asleep. Strange, why is there still no movement? Say something if he's alive or dead. Logically speaking, the inheritance of strength should be very quick, no matter what, it shouldn't drag on for this long. Say you guys, could he have lost his sense for a moment and really chosen that one in the middle? Impossible. I expressly told him to absolutely not pick that middle one. Unless his brain has been caught by a door. The other strength inheritances can be completed in a moment, only War God's power requires one to go through a trial. Right now it's already been so long, no matter how you look at it, it's all like, fuck. Has that boy's head been kicked by a donkey? He may have astounding talent, but that trial is absolute bullshit. So many super prodigies of Forgotten Continent have all died within that trial, just that bit of strength of his, creak. Behind their backs, the Hall of Heroic Souls door was pushed open. Ling Chen walked out from within with a helpless face. He heard everything that they just said. Seeing him, the 7 class trainers all charged over, like a group of noisy flies asking about the matter of Ling Chen's strength inheritance in a gabble. Before they finished speaking, a low and cold voice traveled out from within the Hall of Heroic Souls, those who create a racket outside of the Hall of Heroic Souls, death. The 7 class trainers were instantly silent, each of them shrinking their necks, grabbing Ling Chen and running in the direction of the class change hall. Finally walking out of the area of the Hall of Heroic Souls, the 7 class trainers once again surrounded him, impatiently asking, "Kid, how is it? What class did you change to?" From the looks of it you should have succeeded. Good thing you weren't an idiot and didn't choose War God's trial, or else right now you wouldn't be coming out from the Hall of Heroic Souls but instead over at the Revival Stone. You'd also never have a chance to change classes in the Hall of Heroic Souls in this life. Hurry up and say, whose power did you gain? Ling Chen shrugged his shoulders, leisurely saying, of course it's War God's power. Bullshit. The moment Ling Chen's sentence left his mouth, the warrior trainer directly swore. That expression was like he wanted to start yelling at him. Ling Chen quickly took 2 steps back, dodging a swarm of spit that flew over. Do you think you're some big shot after gaining a strength inheritance, actually starting mess with us couple of old guys? You've gained War God's power? Tui, if you can obtain War God's power inheritance, I'll walk upside down from now on. The warrior trainer roared, grinding his teeth. Kid, do you know what you first need to do to inherit War God's power? It is a trial of strength. In these 1,000 years, a total of 6 people have entered that trial, not a single person passed and they all instead died within. Any of those 6 people could causally poke you to death with a pinky finger. You've gained War God's inheritance? And I'm the father of the mayor. If you can pass War God's trial, then I'll cut off my head for you to use as a urinal. Kid, one must be honest, you need to make a draft when bluffing. Looking at the faces of disdain on the class trainers, there was actually no one that believed him. Ling Chen couldn't help but be saddened. He twitched his lips, his hand moving and holding War God's sword in his hand. When War God's sword appeared, the expressions of the 7 class trainers froze, even the air completely froze at this moment. 7 pairs of differently sized eyes all froze on it, their eyes all widening to the limit at virtually the same time, trembling with a light of disbelief. This is War God's sword. It's War God's sword, no mistake. War God's sword can only be given to the person that obtains War God's inheritance. Could it be? 7 pairs of class trainer eyes focused on Ling Chen's body again. That extremely exaggerated expression was like looking at a monster. War God's sword is the proof of passing War God's trial. They understand clearly that Ling Chen being able to obtain this War God's sword clearly means he really passed War God's trial, obtaining the inheritance of War God's strength. The warrior trainer started to speak in a stutter. Why you? You really obtained War God's strength? The time before, you were accepting War God's trial. That's right, you guys can choose to believe me or not. Ling Chen put away War God's sword, not bothering to say anything more. By my mother, it's actually true. The 7 class trainers all wailed in their hearts. This otherworld human in front of them that has only arrived in the world for a couple of days has actually passed this trial that no one has passed in 1,000 years on Forgotten Continent. Is there something more unbelievable than this? But, that War God's sword is ironclad proof. This person. Is he a monster? Yes. Yes. We definitely believe you. The warrior trainer blankly nodded his head like a little chick pecking rice, evidently having difficulty returning to his senses from the shock. Truly. Truly the person that unlocked soul sacrifice. You are a prodigy. No, a prodigy among prodigies. Cough cough. Ling Chen slanted his eyes, saying in a leisurely manner, Mr. Warrior Trainer, I heard that you have to walk upside down from now on. The warrior trainer's expression froze and then looked at the sky at a 45-degree angle, rubbing his head and laughing like a lunatic. Ha, ha. The weather today is nice, really nice, haha, haha. Mr. Shield Guard Trainer, I heard you are the mayor's dad? The Shield Guard Trainer's face was completely serious. Hallucinations, you're definitely hallucinating. Mr. Archer Trainer, I heard you're going to chop off your head to let me use as a urinal? The archer trainer opened wide his innocent eyes, asking with a face of confusion, what are urinals? Can you eat them? Under Ling Chen's gaze, Shui Ruo's arms slightly pushed on the bed and then her body slowly sat up on the bed. The entire process appeared so easy and natural, there was not a single trace of strain or struggle. Even though Shui Ruo could also sit up on her own before, every time she had to expend a lot of effort, she was simply unable to sit up so easily. This meant that Shui Ruo's body functions really already had a very evident improvement. The 13223 drug completely took effect. This is great, Shui Ruo. Like this, in at most 1 month you'll be able to completely recover. Ling Chen lightly said, his heart slowly being filled with warmth and joy. Shui Ruo's recovery is the greatest desire in his life. And now, this previous wild wish has already genuinely appeared before his eyes. Looking at the current Shui Ruo, he distinctly felt that his life was already very perfect. Really so perfect. As long as Shui Ruo can completely recover, he already has no more desires. I definitely will. Ling Shui Ruo heavily nodded her head. Not only my body, my mind has also recovered very well. Just like today, I can wake up this early and I don't feel tired at all. Brother, I feel like I can play games together with you right now, there shouldn't be any problems. That's no good. Ling Chen smiled, shaking his head. Playing virtual reality games requires one to exhaust their mind. Regular people are unaffected, but with your current condition you should still spend all your energy resting. Wait for a little longer, okay? When Ling Chen is in the game world, after Ling Shui Ruo wakes up she will always silently watch him by his side. Even though they have been together for so many years, she can still never get enough of watching him. She sees that the expression of her brother while he is in the game world is always so serious, he's definitely doing everything very seriously in that world, which also means he really likes that game world. She really also wants to go to that mysterious game world to accompany him and help him. Okay, I'll listen to brother. Shui Ruo's slender eyebrows slightly raised, smiling very sweetly. After eating breakfast with Shui Ruo, when he was just about to push Shui Ruo out to feel the morning breeze, the phone in the house suddenly rang. Due to the reason of Shui Ruo having Isrock, Ling Chen used to never use cell phones this kind of thing. Now he does have one, it is one that Yun Feng forcefully shoved to him when he delivered the game equipment. The house has always had a very old-style landline and the number of people that know the number of this landline is also one. It is Dr. Ma who has always been treating Shui Ruo's Isrock. Picking up the phone, it was indeed the voice of that doctor that came out. Mr. Ling Chen, is it convenient for you to bring your sister over to my place here? It's related to the matter of her condition, there are some things I have to confirm. This is very important. The last time they went to Dr. Ma's, the result they obtained was that the majority of the Isrock virus in Shui Ruo's body has become dormant. At that time this result made her very shocked, she was simply unable to believe it. Yet that result made Ling Chen and Shui Ruo smile. At that time Ling Chen also said, I think we probably won't be coming here anymore. Please be sure to come. Not waiting for Ling Chen to ask, the doctor on the other side had already hung up the phone. Ling Chen held onto the phone and frowned. After contemplating, Ling Chen still pushed Shui Ruo walking in the direction of the hospital. Even though he does not understand Dr. Ma's objective, Dr. Ma is a person that can be trusted. This point he can more than confirm, or else he also wouldn't allow her to treat Shui Ruo. At the same time, he didn't dare to have any carelessness related to Shui Ruo's condition. Arriving at the hospital, Dr. Ma did not immediately say the objective of their arrival, instead having the nurse do a blood test on Shui Ruo at the first moment. After a bit the test result was sent to Dr. Ma's hands. Dr. Ma looked at the pictures and test report in her hands, silent for a long time. Doctor, is there a special problem? Ling Chen asked. Putting down the things in her hands, Dr. Ma turned her face over, her expression carrying a hint of complexity. She pushed the spectacle frame on the bridge of her nose, saying seriously, looking at the test result, Shui Ruo's Isrock virus is already completely dormant, not a single one is still active. Moreover, from the looks of it they will be dormant for a very long time. Which is to say, before these Isrock viruses awaken, Shui Ruo will not receive any influences from them. She only needs to then go through conventional recuperations and she will very quickly recover to be the same as a regular person. No, it should be even better than a regular human. What's dormant is not only the Isrock virus, any viruses in Shui Ruo's body that is harmful to her body have all fallen dormant like the Isrock virus, some have even directly died. Under this kind of condition, Shui Ruo will not become sick due to the infection of a virus. Dr. Ma, do you have something else you want to say? Ling Chen did not display any joy. When Dr. Ma called him, her tone of voice was clearly unusual. When saying these words her expression also had an evident change. Dr. Ma looked at him and then looked at Shui Ruo beside him, saying, Tell me honestly, did you give her the 13223 drug? Ling Chen's forehead slightly wrinkled. After staring at Dr. Ma's eyes for a few seconds he still nodded his head. That's what I thought. Dr. Ma lightly breathed out, and then turned her body halfway, speaking while facing the computer screen. The last time you guys came, Shui Ruo's test results made me very surprised. From your behavior that didn't seem to be the mistake of the test result. Thus I used a lot of time to investigate the reason this kind of situation would appear and respectively consulted the entire world's leading earsock virus specialists. And then I knew about the 13,223 drug this thing. Currently, it is also only it that can make the Isrock virus so quickly fall dormant in a large scale. To confirm this I called you guys over today. The reality is indeed so. Don't tell people this. Ling Chen said without expression. I know. Dr. Ma smiled. I also wanted to remind you guys not to tell other people this. Looks like it's unnecessary. After all, there's only a limited few bottles of the 13223 drug in the entire world. A lot of people are doing everything possible to obtain it. If other people know that you guys have used it, it might bring you guys trouble. Rest assured, I will not tell anyone about this. I swear by my honor. Okay, I believe you. Then the reason you called us over today is to confirm the matter of the 13223 drug? Ling Chen asked. Is it really just like so? But based on his intuition it also didn't seem to be so simple. Because this Dr. Ma's expression was mixed with some things he couldn't see. Yes. Dr. Ma nodded her head, smiling gently. Studying the Isrock virus for so many years I actually didn't know of the existence of the 13223 drug this kind of thing the entire time. This made me feel like a failure. Encountering it for the first time my occupational enthusiasm made me uncontrollably want to personally see the effect of the 13,223 drug. I am truly sorry for having you guys come over here because of my selfishness. To show my apologies, if Shui Ruo has any minor illnesses in the future then feel free to come find me, you don't need to pay any medical fees. Even though Shui Ruo might not get any more illnesses anymore, hee. In that case, then I will first leave with Shui Ruo and come trouble you again in the future. Goodbye. Goodbye Aunt Ma, I will think of you. Goodbye. Shui Ruo, I hope you can be happy like an angel. Watching Ling Chen and Shui Ruo leave, Dr. Ma's expression became complex and hard to describe. Some things she was simply unable to say. Sitting in front of the computer, she lifted her finger, clicking on a video that she'd already repeatedly watched many times. The video opening, what it projected was a small conference room, and the people sitting in the conference room were all surprisingly the world's authority-level specialists in studying the Isrock virus. Through many years of unremitting efforts, we've finally figured out the core components of the 13223 drug. Initially we thought this would be a massive historical breakthrough in humanity fighting the Isrock virus. When the 13223 drug could be mass-produced and widespread, the Isrock virus would no longer be that scary because the 13223 drug can make them dormant for 10 years. After 10 years we might be already able to completely overcome the Isrock virus. But, this beautiful vision has shattered. When we discovered the core components of the 13223 drug, what we felt was not joy, but instead fear. Because, the 13,223 drug is actually a type of poison. A type of poison even scarier than the Isrock virus. The reason it can cause the Isrock virus to fall dormant, is because its overly terrifying poisonousness makes even the Isrock virus feel afraid and forced to hide itself for self-protection. On the appearance, it's holding back the Isrock virus and it can be for as long as 10 years, because after this virus enters the human body, it can also only live for 10 years. But in the end it is a poison even scarier than the Isrock virus. It is like a deadly venomous snake, a hibernating venomous snake. Maybe, it will continue to stay dormant until the day that it dies. Then fortunately, its host will peacefully pass these 10 years. But once it awakens, the body that it exists in will only have one result, within 3 days. Death. At the moment, there are already 7 people in the entire world that are known to have taken the 13,223 drug. We spent a large amount of time and effort to find their current conditions. The results made us shaken. Of the 7 people, 2 people peacefully passed the 10 years, the other 5 people, 2 inexplicably died after 5 years, 2 inexplicably died at around 1 year, and 1, after taking the 13223 drug. The person's body completely recovered but inexplicably died 1 month later. And only we know the true reason they died. The 13223 virus is a terrifying gamble, its appearance can even said to be a terrifying scam. It absolutely cannot be widespread, and even needs to be prohibited. Okay, thank you Dr. Ma. You're welcome. Actually, you already don't need to protect her like she's a porcelain doll. Letting her exercise more and training her mind will instead help her recover faster. Also, do your best to satisfy her requests. What I mean is, if she's in a good mood it is very beneficial to recovery of her body and mind. Okay, I know. Yeah. Seeing Ling Chen hang up the phone, Ling Shui-Ruo made a victory sign with her hand while laughing. Brother, this time it's my win. Fine. Ling Chen helplessly shrugged his shoulders, but he was actually warmly laughing in his heart. Because this at least proves that Ling Shui-Ruo's mind has indeed already recovered very well. He took out Shui-Ruo's game device. It is an aqua blue-colored crystal bracelet. Pulling over Shui-Ruo's smooth soft hand he gently put it onto her white wrists. Shui-Ruo's skin is overly snow-white and delicate. Every time when Ling Chen touches her skin he will always be very careful, afraid of hurting her. Ling Shui-Ruo lifted her hand looking at the beautiful game device on her wrist, smiling happily. Like this she can also accompany him at all times in the other world. But you need to remember, you can't go past 8 hours a day. I know brother. Ling Shui-Ruo stuck out her pink tongue, a casual playful action yet it was so cute that it made Ling Chen dazzled. Then, Ruo, what class are you going to choose? Brother is a profession that means attack, of course I'm a priest. Like this brother will be able to reassuredly fight at the front and I can protect brother from the back, always being protected brother. I also want to protect brother once. Okay, priest. Then what name does Ruo prepare to use? This is a secret. Closing the door he lied together on their big bed with Shui-Ruo. The first time they will enter the game world together. Ling Chen looked at the girl sticking beside him with her eyes closed. For him her smiling face will always the most valuable thing and most beautiful scenery in the world. There is nothing more valuable than Shui-Ruo's smiling face. The him today is honestly really happy. His hand pressing on the game device, after a short silence Ling Chen had already returned to the game world. Ding! Welcome to the Mystic Moon world, we hope you have a joyful experience. Ling Chen appeared in a location very close to the Hall of Heroic Souls. This is also the place where he logged out yesterday. He directly ran in the direction of the class change hall. Since Ling Chen appeared in Azure Dragon City until now, there still hasn't been a second player who has entered the class change hall. In the later stages levels will be gradually pulled apart due to profession, gear, skills, items and other various aspects, but at the early stage where everyone has the exact same starting point, pulling apart such a great distance is indeed a bit exaggerated. The class change hall was desolate, it was still only just those 7 class trainers. They saw Ling Chen come in and immediately surrounded him like wolves that hadn't eaten meat for hundreds of years. Take me to go see the mayor? Ling Chen said straight to the point. Azure Dragon City is very big, there are countless NPCs inside, and on these countless NPCs there definitely also hides countless tasks of all sorts. But the rewards given by these regular quests that can be directly accepted are also naturally some regular rewards. Either potions or money or experience. More generous ones will give low-grade energy crystals or low-grade equipment. These things have a great allure towards regular players, for them doing quests is a lot more important than farming and leveling up. But with Ling Chen's current equipment he clearly isn't foolish enough to waste a bunch of time to go earn those non-essential rewards. The location of the mayor's residence is slightly north of the center of Azure Dragon City and is a forbidden area towards players. If there wasn't someone special leading him, Ling Chen simply would not be allowed to enter. And so, the class trainers with nothing to do brought Ling Chen over to the mayor's residence. These 7 class trainers are evidently famous people within Azure Dragon City. The lineup of the 7 trainers leading a youngster walking on the streets of Azure Dragon City also stood out quite a lot. Bearing the gazes of countless people, they finally arrived in front of the door of the mayor's residence. The warrior trainer took a step forward, saying towards the city guards guarding there, "Please notify the mayor, just say that the first otherworld person has already arrived and has obtained the strength inheritance from the Hall of Heroic Souls. We've already brought him to see the mayor." The gazes of the city guards guarding at the door immediately all focused on Ling Chen, their faces revealing a deep admiration and respect. People that can obtain the Hall of Heroic Souls strength inheritance are all once in 100-year geniuses. After they mature, they are all reputed figures. The expression of the city guards immediately became respectful. Nodding his head, he quickly entered the mayor's residence. In a bit he then hastily returned, saying towards them, "The mayor said he only wants to see this player that passed the Hall of Heroic Souls trial and told me to tell the 7 trainers to keep post and not to casually leave. This hero from another world, please follow me." The 7 class trainers immediately all became awkward, only able to stare at Ling Chen walk into the mayor's residence by himself. The mayor's residence is by no means a place that regular players can enter, but people with strong talent and ability will always enjoy special treatment no matter where they go. Azure Dragon City's mayor once specially told the 7 class trainers that if they meet a very gifted player, then they can let him enter the Hall of Heroic Souls. If the person can obtain the strength inheritance of the Hall of Heroic Souls, then directly bring the person over to see him. Even though the power ranking of players is very low, but due to their massive numbers and the gift to not truly die, they are undoubtedly an extremely massive force. Forgotten Continent naturally will not look down on them. Towards the super geniuses among them, they will also use all kinds of methods to pull them in. When necessary, they could play a great role. "Please wait for a moment, the mayor will arrive right away." The city guard brought him to a quite lavishly decorated reception hall, politely saying. He then retreated a few steps, leaving after saluting him. The reception room is spacious and grand. In the steadiness there is a bit of a modern-era atmosphere. Out of courtesy, Ling Chen did not sit down. Walking to the middle and standing there, he silently waited for the arrival of the Azure Dragon Mayor. Being able to see Azure Dragon City's highest-ranking NPC after just arriving at Azure Dragon City could also be considered a relative honor. "Brother, can you hear?" A sweet soft voice rose up from the communication device. Ling Chen immediately lifted his left arm, looking towards the name shown on the communication device. "Roa loves Chen." Ling Chen smiled, smiling exceptionally gently. He put his lips close to the communication device, softly saying, Roa, are you at the novice village already?" "Yeah. And it's novice village number 49554, the same novice village as brother." Ling Shui Ruo's voice had a deep happiness in it. She was just this easily satisfied, being able to be so happy just by being placed in the same novice village as him. Because the hearts and fates of me and Ruo are always closely connected, being placed in the same novice village is not strange at all. Ling Chen said with a smile. For the first time he was upset about why he left the novice village so early, or else he could bring around Ruo and do quests together, farm and level up together, and then leave the novice village together, change classes together. How beautiful of a thing would that be? Right now it's only her in the novice village. Since after him and Ling Shui Ruo met, virtually at all times she had him at her side. Now having her by herself and also being an exceedingly beautiful beauty, it honestly made him unable to relax. Brother, there's so many people here, and a lot of people are staring at me. I'm a little scared, what should I do? With Ling Shui Ruo's beauty and charisma, no matter where she goes she will always be the focus of all eyes. Ling Chen's expression became a bit cold, his voice still gentle. Go to the second little house in the novice village first, that is the novice village's item shop. Then look for the item shop's shopkeeper Wang and ask for a mask. After you get the mask, wear it, this way people won't be able to recognize you, lest someone sets their eyes on my Ruo. And then go find the village chief, he will tell you some basic knowledge of the game world. Remember to finish listening to everything he says. If there's something you don't understand you also have to carefully ask him, he will be very happy to tell you. After he finishes saying everything there will also be an additional reward, and then after that, Ling Chen told Ling Shui Ruo in great detail about some processes that she needs to go through at the novice stage. He then talked about some things that she needs to pay attention to. Like absolutely not going near that room in the innermost of the novice village and stuff like that. After talking for quite some time their call finally ended. Ling Shui Ruo carried a heart full of curiosity and jogged towards the item store under the stunned gazes of countless male and female players who were like they'd seen an angel. As for on Ling Chen's side, the mayor still hadn't come over. Walking to a corner of the reception hall, Ling Chen picked up the communication device, putting it at his lips, using an extremely low voice saying, "Ghost Fang, is it convenient for you to speak? At Novice Village number 49554, how many people are there? Let all the people there secretly protect a girl called Ruo loves Chen, you know who she is. Note, it's secretly protect, you cannot be discovered by her and especially cannot disturb her. But when necessary, like when she encounters danger, then you can act as a passerby to give her help. Also, whoever wants to violate her, no matter who they are, directly kill them, no need to say anything. If someone makes her frightened or even a tiny bit hurt, find their real-life identity. Cut them to pieces and feed the dogs. TL, this is not a joke. Although it doesn't happen." The communication device hanging up, Ling Chen also retracted his ice-cold gaze. He lifted up his arms, silently staring at them. It's already been many years. Since after meeting Ruo I have never killed a person again. The people that I've wanted to kill have all been through the hands of others. Because, these hands of mine that have hugged Ruo and touched Ruo's body, how can they be stained with blood again? And how can I allow hands stained with blood, to go hug and touch my Ruo who is more kind and pure than even an angel? Azure Dragon's mayor sized him up, saying with a light smile, "Truly the person to stand out from millions of other world humans and arrive here first, you do indeed have an extraordinary aura. Just from your appearance one can tell that you are definitely not an ordinary human. Sigh, just now there was an important matter so I was unable to arrive right away. I am truly sorry for making you wait so long. Come, sit first." Coming in, this mayor first complimented him and then apologized without any airs. Moreover, he didn't have any sort of false or pretentious demeanor. Ling Chen immediately had a more favorable impression towards him, sitting in the chair in the very middle face to face with him. The Hall of Heroic Souls Guardian said that the mayor might hand over a very difficult matter for him to complete. What could it be? Azure Dragon City's highest-ranked NPC, a quest given by the Azure Dragon's mayor. Without needing to think, one already knows that it is definitely not normal. Azure Dragon's mayor's gaze fell on the proof of courage insignia worn at Ling Chen's chest, his eyes instantly lighting up. What you're wearing in front of your chest should be the proof of courage insignia. Only the most outstanding heroes have the right to wear this insignia, this cannot be faked. Oh right, just now I heard the report say that you obtained the strength inheritance of the Hall of Heroic Souls? Yes. Ling Chen replied simply. Azure Dragon's mayor let out a wow. Only in an average of once every 100 years will a person who has the qualifications to obtain the Hall of Heroic Souls strength inheritance appear on Forgotten Continent. Having this kind of talent, I believe that even though you are a player you will still have extraordinary accomplishments in the future on Forgotten Continent. Oh right, whose power did you inherit? War God's power. Ling Chen directly responded saying. Hearing Ling Chen response, Azure Dragon's mayor clearly blanked for a moment. He lightly shook his exhausted, slightly dizzy head, asking uncertainly, "Say it again, I think I didn't hear clearly, War God's power." Ling Chen once again responded. He knows why Azure Dragon's mayor would ask again. It's not that he didn't hear clearly, but instead that he instinctively assumed that the answer he heard was wrong. Because in the perception of these people, War God's trial is simply impossible to pass, which means that there simply isn't anyone that can pass War God's trial. After Ling Chen responded again, he stood up. In a fleeting gray light he called out War God's sword, displaying it before Azure Dragon's mayor. The instant War God's sword entered his eyes, Azure Dragon's mayor's eyes violently contracted. After an instant of silence he abruptly stood up, his shaking eyes tightly stared at War God's sword, his voice slightly trembling in shock. War God's sword. You, this person. Could it be that he actually passed War God's trial? How can that be? The trial that even so many of Forgotten Continent's prodigies couldn't pass, how could an otherworld player whose power level is extremely low pass it? But, War God's sword will only be given to the person that passes War God's trial. You passed War God's trial? Azure Dragon's mayor shouted in shock. He only knew just now that what he heard before was not an auditory illusion due to exhaustion. As the lord of a city, he has seen countless things in his life, he basically won't have such violent changes in mood. But, the matter of passing War God's trial is honestly too shocking. Because this is something that no one has been able to do in even 1,000 years on Forgotten Continent. This is the note the Hall of Heroic Souls Guardian let me hand over to you. Ling Chen didn't directly respond, turning over to Azure Dragon's mayor the note that the Hall of Heroic Souls Guardian gave to him. Azure Dragon's mayor took it over. This note is indeed written by the Guardian of the Hall of Heroic Souls, there's no mistake. He quickly opened it, looking at the words on top. In a short period of time his expression was covered by layer after layer of shock. When he next lifted his head, the expression of his eyes staring at Ling Chen was like looking at a monster that came from space. Simultaneously gaining the approval of all of the powers in the Hall of Heroic Souls. Even fighting, wanting to voluntarily attach to him. The pillar in the middle bearing War God's power disappeared, this person. He truly passed War God's trial. The shocked expression remained on the face of Azure Dragon's mayor for a long time before slowly being suppressed by him. He rapidly adjusted his expression, sizing up Ling Chen again for a long time before saying in amazement, "You actually passed War God's trial and obtained War God's strength inheritance. Without any exaggeration, you are the most amazing person that I have seen in my entire life. You are too kind." Ling Chen shook his head saying, "This evaluation was a bit outrageously high." "No, it is indeed so. The Hall of Heroic Souls has been established for 1,000 years, there has never been a person that could pass the trial War God left behind, a whole 1,000 years. And you have already done it after arriving in the world for just a few short days of time. The height of your talent and skill is virtually unbelievable. If the matter of War God's strength being inherited travels out, you will become known by all within a short period of time. You've just arrived at Forgotten Continent, you definitely don't know how impressive of a matter passing War God's trial is in our eyes. That was originally a universally recognized trial that could not be passed. Let's just forget about that, I don't want too many people to know." Ling Chen said. Azure Dragon's mayor nodded his head and started smiling, "Strong but not cocky, very good. If that's the case, then I won't have people publicize this. Although I think I need to tell Forgotten City's emperor about this matter, he will definitely be very interested. Although you can relax, since you are unwilling, he naturally will not announce this matter either. Letting him know your name earlier will have a great benefit towards you gaining a foothold in Forgotten City." Ling Chen nodded his head and did not oppose, instead directly asking, "Mr. Mayor, I heard that recently you've had some troublesome problems. I wonder if there's anything I can help with?" Azure Dragon's mayor was dazed for a moment, and then Ling Chen saw that a fleeting light seemed to flash across his eyes for an instant. Azure Dragon's mayor slowly nodded his head. There is indeed, moreover this matter has made me sleepless for this period of time. Are you willing to listen to me explain this matter and then help me? Ling Chen nodded his head. No shit, the reason he came here was to accept this quest of the mayor's, how could he refuse? In truth, I originally wouldn't hand this matter over to you players because with the strength of you players it is simply impossible to complete. But Azure Dragon's mayor stared straight at Ling Chen, his gaze filled with hot steamy passion. You are the person that passed War God's trial, you are a peerless prodigy that Forgotten Continent has yet to see in 1,000 years. Being able to create the miracle of passing War God's trial, maybe. You really can help me. In addition, what makes me most at ease is that even if you players die you can also revive right away and your level just drops by 1. So I don't even really need to worry about your safety. The corner of Ling Chen's lips twitched. He has the protection of Lunar Scourge. After he dies his level doesn't just drop by 1 level, dying once his level will directly return to 0. All of his hard work will go down the drain. For players there is simply no punishment more cruel than this. Although he didn't interrupt, continuing to listen to Azure Dragon's mayor talk. Sigh, Azure Dragon's mayor let out a long sigh and then started to explain. Speaking of it, this matter is very easy, it's just finding an item, but it is also incredibly difficult. Just 1 month ago when my youngest son was in the Black Forest training, he encountered the attack of a powerful lord monster, the green-eyed mosaic snake. Even though he escaped with his life, he was bitten by the green-eye mosaic snake. There are extremely few green-eyed mosaic snakes. Reportedly the number of green-eyed mosaic snakes on Forgotten Continent will not surpass 10. It is a type of extremely scary venomous snake. If you are bitten by it once you will definitely die if the venom is not cured on time. And there is only one thing that can cure the green-eyed mosaic snake's venom, its name is called black flame grass. Black flame grass. Ling Chen remembered this name. Black flame grass is a type of very special and also very recognizable herb. It is only a dozen centimeters tall, its entire body is pitch black and its shape is like burning fire. Its numbers are very few, only existing in places that are dark all year round. And currently there is only one place in the entirety of Forgotten Continent that is known to have black flame grass. That is place located at the most eastern part of Forgotten Continent called Silent Soul Ridge. Silent Soul Ridge is located about 200 miles east of Azure Dragon City, and that is one of the forbidden areas for humans on Forgotten Continent. Silent Soul Ridge's sky is dark all year round. This is something that everyone on Forgotten Continent knows, but nobody knows why. Some say that countless bones are buried there, thus creating numerous undead, driving away the light there. There are also some that say there is a powerful demonic beast of darkness hiding there. Its darkness aura covered the sky, but they are all guesses. Nobody dares to approach the place to find the real answer. Because of the people that have entered Silent Soul Ridge, there has never been a person that could come out alive. Never. Ling Chen, Silent Soul Ridge also gained its name from this. Once you get close you will turn into an undead as one of the wisps of silence there. These few days to find black flame grass for my son, I have sent a total of 3 waves of fearless expert bodyguards over. On the way we've always been maintaining communication, but once they reach Silent Soul Ridge communication will be entirely cut off and then there will be no word of them. They, clearly all died there. After 3 waves I didn't dare to send people again to go die there, but black flame grass and my youngest son's venom. Sigh, you want me to take a trip to Silent Soul Ridge and then bring back black flame grass? Ling Chen understood what the quest is that Azure Dragon's mayor is about to give to him. Yes. I bid you, you have to help me. Right now it is also only you, this kind of person that has enough strength and does not need to worry too much about death, that can help me. My youngest son's venom has been controlled at the moment, but if 1 month passes and we still don't have the black flame grass then his venom will completely act up, at that time he will die for sure. So please, you have to help me go to Silent Soul Ridge and get the black flame grass before 1 month. If you succeed, I will definitely greatly repay you. Azure Dragon's mayor said seriously and emotionally. Ding! You have triggered the quest looking for black flame grass. Quest description: go to Silent Soul Ridge, obtain black flame grass and give it to Azure Dragon's mayor. Quest type: unique hidden. Quest time limit: 1 month. Quest reward: unknown. Quest penalty: fame drops to 0. Azure Dragon's mayor's favorability towards you will greatly decrease. From then on you cannot accept any quests in Azure Dragon City. Do you accept? Ding! Warning: this quest's difficulty is extremely high. With your current strength it is entirely impossible. If you accept, there is an extremely high probability of facing the cruel failure penalty. Please consider carefully. Facing Azure Dragon's mayor's eager gaze and the notification sound by his ears, Ling Chen fell silent. The fuck, is there a quest penalty more brutal than this? This is practically even scarier than level dropping by 3. If he really fails this quest, this failure penalty will cause him to struggle greatly in Azure Dragon City. This quest penalty also seems to have just a bit of a soul. If he doesn't accept the quest, then that's that, nothing will happen. But once he accepts it, Azure Dragon's mayor will attach the hope of saving his son to him. If he succeeds, he will naturally be thanked profusely, but if he fails, and then the mayor's son dies, then all of his resentment will be directly focused on Ling Chen. Who cares whether or not he's War God's successor? His favorability will directly drop to the level of disgust. Once news of this spreads, there won't be an NPC in Azure Dragon City willing give him a quest. Moreover, this quest's difficulty has been directly determined by the system as impossible to complete, and it is accompanied by such a terrifying failure penalty. Do I really accept it? Hidden unique quests are indeed accompanied by generous rewards, but the difficulty is also extremely high. At the same time, there will also be the brutal death penalty. The levels of Azure Dragon City's city guards at the very least have to be LV 80 and above. Even people of this level of strength directly vanished after going to Silent Soul Ridge. He's just a player that just reached LV 11. Anybody would think that this is simply suicide, and suicide isn't the end. A big pile of scary penalties will be smashed downwards closely afterwards. But, on the flip side, doesn't the scarier the difficulty and penalty of a quest mean that after completion, one will be able to obtain increasingly greater rewards? Okay, I accept. Within 1 month I will bring back black flame grass. Ling Chen lifted his head, focusing his eyes and giving Azure Dragon's mayor his response. After responding, the worry and hesitation in his heart instantly vanished without trace. The reason that an extremely little number of people can be different from the vast majority of people is because they dare to do things that most people don't have the courage and resolution to do. In this world there has never been anything that is absolutely impossible, just like War God's trial that he passed before. Isn't that also an impossible to pass trial in their mouths? But the result is that he chose it and passed. Good. Azure Dragon's mayor joyfully nodded his head. Truly the person that can pass War God's trial. Just this resolution of not being afraid of hardships and death is enough to impress people. Even though your strength right now is very low, I can feel an inexplicable sense of trust from you. The journey towards Silent Soul Ridge is long. Going towards there, it's best if you go to the mount shop and pick a mount. Oh right. Azure Dragon's mayor took out magic pen and paper and rapidly wrote down a few lines of words. He then sealed it in an envelope. Take this and then hand it to the mount shop store owner. He will gift you the mount shop's best mount for free. Even though I am anxious and uneasy in my heart, I still suggest that you first increase your strength before going to Silent Soul Ridge. You have inherited War God strength, so your leveling speed should be very fast. The higher your strength, the better your chances. When you're prepared to go towards Silent Soul Ridge, leave from the east and continue heading east. When you can't find the path, you can ask the citizens along the way. Any random person will know where the path is towards Silent Soul Ridge. After all, that is a forbidden area that everybody knows. Young man, I can no longer bear to let countless city guards go die. All of my hope is placed on you. I await your triumphant return. I am a dividing line. I've accepted a really troublesome quest. Holding on to Azure Dragon's mayor's letter of introduction, and walking out of the mayor's residence, Ling Chen said so in a low voice. This is undoubtedly the hardest quest he has ever seen, along with the most brutal quest penalty. Forgotten Continent's countless masters don't even dare to set foot there, a forbidden area where whoever goes there dies. I'm just a tiny player, can I really complete this quest? He was worried. But in reality, the depths of his heart was jumping with excitement. He was born as the kind of person where the harder something is, the more he wants to challenge it. Since I've accepted it, then I will prepare properly. Heading towards the item, he used the big pile of gold coins dropped by the Zephyr bird to max out his yellow potions and dark blue potions. After thinking for a moment, he then bought some luxury items. The green potion that can instantly recover 800 HP, lastly he got a copy of Azure Dragon City's map and then walked out of the item shop. On the Azure Dragon City map he locked onto the location of the mount shop and then headed straight there. The mount shop is not big, there is only a shriveled, old little man watching the shop. Maybe due to there being no business, the little old man is sitting there listless. Hearing someone come in, he also only moved his eyelids, too lazy to even open his eyes. Ling Chen swept the surroundings with his eyes and did not see any mounts or anything related, but on the wall behind the little old man there hangs the codes and prices of all kinds of mounts. Bay Horse, Grade 1 mount, after mounting movement speed plus 20, no extra abilities, cannot be upgraded. Price, 200 gold. Big Horse, Grade 1 mount, after mounting movement speed plus 30, no extra abilities, cannot be upgraded. Price, 500 gold. 1000-mile Horse, Grade 1 mount, after mounting movement speed plus 40, no extra abilities, cannot be upgraded. Price, 2000 gold. Akeltech Horse, Grade 1 mount, after mounting movement speed plus 50, no extra abilities, cannot be upgraded. Price, 5000 gold. Cloud Trotting Horse, Grade 1 mount, after mounting movement speed plus 60, no extra abilities, cannot be upgraded. Price, 20,000 gold. The mount shop only sells a total of 5 kinds of horses. Following the increase of the added movement speed, the prices also rise at a staggering pace. That last mount, the Cloud Trotting Horse that adds 60 movement speed, is actually sold at 20,000 gold. At the current moment where currency exchange has yet to open, this is an astronomical price that nobody can pay. Although these prices also visually display the importance of movement speed in the game world. Regardless of which profession, movement speed is always an extremely important attribute, nobody has ever doubted this. Due to this, no matter what equipment it is, as long as it adds movement speed, then it is the best of the best. Boss, get a horse. Ling Chen took a few steps forward, taking out Azure Dragon's mayor's letter of introduction. Hearing Ling Chen's voice, the little old man selling horses finally opened his eyes by a slit. Seeing the letter in Ling Chen's hands, his eyes finally opened fully. He took an extra glance at Ling Chen and then carefully took over the letter. After opening it, he quickly looked through it twice and then sat up straight, saying seriously, "Since it's Mr. Mayor's will, then, I'll temporarily lend you a horse." Finishing speaking, he waved his hand, a beam of white light landed on Ling Chen's body. Ding! You have obtained Mount Cloud Trotting Horse, now exists in your mount space. Holy shit! Cloud Trotting Horse. The Cloud Trotting Horse, that is a whole 20,000 gold coins. Faced with such an expensive gift, Ling Chen also couldn't help but be excited for a moment. But his excitement only lasted for 2 seconds and was then immediately doused by a notification sound, ding. The Cloud Trotting Horse that you have obtained is temporarily lent to you by the mount shop. If you complete the Looking for Black Flame Grass quest, then you will not need to return it. If you do not complete the Looking for Black Flame Grass quest, then you must return the Cloud Trotting Horse after 1 month. If the Cloud Trotting Horse cannot be returned due to death or other such reasons, then the money you possess will be gradually deducted until 20,000 gold has been deducted. Ling Chen, God freaking. At #UN%, it's actually just borrowed. Can you not be so cheap? Ling Chen grinned and did not say anything more, directly leaving the mount shop. Looking at the time, he held up the communication device and connected to Ling Shui Ruo, who was far away at Novice Village number 49554. Ruo, where are you right now? Beating up little monsters and doing quests. Oh right brother, 2 high-level big sisters said they want to help me level up. These 2 big sisters both look very gentle and even helped me chase away a number of guys that wanted to approach me. Should I agree? If a man wanted to get close to Ling Shui Ruo, Ling Chen would definitely not agree. Ling Shui Ruo herself would also oppose because she knows her own charms, but females. 2 high-level females, why would they voluntarily get close to a young girl that has just entered the game? Could it be? What are their names? Ling Chen asked. Names, One is called Yao Yin, one is called Xian Mo. Yao Yin and Xian Mo. So that's how it is. Ling Chen's expression eased up. He said with a light smile, they definitely think that you're very cute, which is why they want to voluntarily bring you along. Then just agree to them. With them carrying you, leveling up will definitely be a lot quicker. Okay. Then I'll agree now. With those 2 people around, the worry that Ling Chen has for Shui Ruo eased up a lot. After ending the call, Ling Chen summoned the Cloud Trotting Horse. Getting on the horse with a jump, his movement speed instantly increased greatly. He headed straight towards the eastern gate of Azure Dragon City. 1 month can be a long or short period of time. As Azure Dragon's mayor said, before going to Silent Soul Ridge, the most important thing is increasing his level. At the very least, he has to level up to the point where he can equip the Zephyr Blade. After equipping the Zephyr Blade, his strength will greatly rise up again. Current SP, 2180. Killing the 3 Lord Bosses and a Zephyr Bird in War God's Trial Ground, Ling Chen obtained a huge amount of SP. This SP is enough for him to upgrade the Battle Soul profession's basic skills by a good number of levels. He opened his skill page and after pondering for a decent amount of time, he chose to place 1600 of the SP into Item Manipulation Technique. Ding! Your skill Item Manipulation Technique has successfully upgraded to LV3. Item Manipulation Technique, current level, LV3, highest level, LV10. SP to upgrade to LV4, 2400. Ancient Battle Technique, after practice, equipment that surpasses your current level can be equipped. Effect, ignores any piece of equipment's level requirement by 3 levels. Item Manipulation Technique upgraded to LV3, like this he only has to wait for his level to increase 1 more time and he will be able to equip LV15 equipment, including the Zephyr Sword. Ling Chen put the remaining 580 SP into 4 corners star formation. A beam of light flashed by and 4 corners star formation upgraded to LV3. 4 corners star formation, current level, LV3, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV4, 800. Using the power of the Battle Soul to sweep the surroundings, instantly forming a formation of destruction in a 10-meter radius around yourself. The Raging Battle Soul power will deal devastating damage towards all targets within the formation. Damage is equal to 400% of regular damage, critical hit rate plus 10%, 100% chance to trigger knockback, MP consumption, 100, cooldown time, 60 seconds. The power and critical hit ability of the upgraded 4 corners star formation once again increased, and his SP also only remained the last 80 points. Finishing allocating his SP, Ling Chen increased his speed, heading straight towards the east gate. Riding a mount greatly increases movement speed. In a virtual game world, movement speed is undoubtedly an important attribute. Its importance is not only displayed in the time of traveling but also that it greatly affects the execution of combat tactics and the results of battles. Especially when facing opponents with powerful strength, strong movement speed can not only greatly increase one's kiting ability, but when facing opponents so powerful that they are hard to contend with, one can also safely escape. In all professions, assassins have the strongest movement speed. Their powerful mobility perfectly makes up for their low defense and health flaw. Ambushing, kiting, pinning and escaping are all benefited in every way. Although riding a mount is also not with disadvantages, and that is that it will greatly lower one's own bodily freedom. After all, there is more freedom when controlling one's own body compared to controlling a mount. So if you had Ling Chen choose, he would discard the mount when fighting monsters. The mounts themselves usually will not have any attack ability, at least all of the ones in Azure Dragon City's store don't. Mounts are also split into different grades. From weakest to strongest they are split as Grade 1, Grade 2, Grade 3, Grade 4, Grade 5, Celestial Grade, Heaven End Grade, Mysterious God Grade and Saint Destroyer Grade. The mounts the mount shops sell are mounts from Grade 1 to Grade 3 and are the ones where it is relatively easy for players to obtain. And starting from Grade 5, mounts start to possess other support effects, even possessing a certain degree of attack ability, being able to support the owner in battle. But it is very hard to obtain Grade 5 and upwards mounts. It is simply not something that regular players can dream of. The Grade 3 Cloud Stepping Mare already requires 20,000 gold. How valuable Grade 4 mounts are can be imagined. The ones above Grade 4, regular players probably can't hope for one in their entire lives, and they are also simply things that you can't even buy with money. Azure Dragon City is a bit exaggeratingly big. Ling Chen finally saw Azure Dragon Tai's East Gate after riding the Cloud Stepping Mare for a long time and almost falling asleep on it. The eastern outskirt near Azure Dragon City is a leisure area scattered with emerald green grass and gurgling streams. The animals that occasionally appear are also all animals without any attack ability, like rabbits and kittens. Further east is the area of a plain and a forest. Ding! You have entered the map, the plains. Due to being close to Azure Dragon City, the creatures wandering on the plains are all a couple of low-level monsters. At the border is the LV-10 monster, the Restless Antelope. Right now what Ling Chen needs to do the most is level up. Naturally he won't waste any time on these low-level creatures. He continued heading forward, rushing straight towards the deeper parts of the plains. The center of the plains is the territory of the LV-15 red-eyed lizards. Red-eyed lizard, type, beast, level, LV-15, HP, 650. Strangely shaped lizard that possesses red pupils. Its body will occasionally shoot out sparks. Due to this it commonly creates small-scale fire disasters on the plains. The red-eyed lizard is very big, each one is around 2 meters long. Gathered together they have quite the terrifying overtone. Ling Chen stopped and jumped off from the Cloud Stepping Mare, landing in the territorial area of the red-eyed lizards. Because the red-eyed lizards here are honestly a bit too concentrated, this place is a perfect place for farming. With a flash of light 2 weapons were simultaneously summoned into his hands. He opened his stat page looking at his current stats. Character, Ling Tian level, 11, class, Ling Tian battle soul, faction, none fame, 5485, money, 19 gold, 0 silver, 0 copper. SP 80 basic attributes, strength, 137, constitution, 25, agility, 47, spirit, 15 innate attributes, luck, 8, comprehension, 8 HP, 700 MP, 370 physical attack strength, 523 magic attack strength, 30 physical defense, 103 hit rate. Absolute hit, dodge rate, 47 critical hit rate, 22%. Pierce rate, 12%, TL, ignore defense, attack speed, 100%, movement speed, 132% elemental resistance, water, 3%, fire, 0%, wind, 0%, lightning, 0%, earth, 3%, light, 0%, darkness, 0% pet. Holy Spirit Beast, Xiao Hui, Mount, Cloud Stepping Mare Skills, Personal Skills, Scan, Current Level, LV1, cannot be upgraded. An ability for all classes, MP Consumption, 1, examine the basic stats of creatures no higher than yourself by 10 levels, Soul Sacrifice, Current Level, LV3, Highest Level LV4, SP to upgrade to LV4, 50,000, an impasse skill that uses your life and soul as an offering in exchange for the most extreme attack strength. Only people with a strong mind and conviction can unlock and trigger it. After activating HP equals 1, physical attack strength plus 300%, magic attack strength plus 300%, the use any skill has no consumption, including HP and MP consumption, duration, 20 seconds, and cannot be stopped while in use, cannot use any method of HP recovery. Cooldown time, 200 secs, Heaven Wine Technique, Current Level, LV3, Highest Level, LV10. SP to upgrade to LV4, 2400. Ancient Battle Technique, after practice it can greatly increase the ability to control any weapon. Effect, when using any weapon, damage dealt is increased by 15%. Effect does not stack with other weapon proficiency skills, Item Manipulation Technique, Current Level, LV3, Highest Level, LV10. SP to upgrade to LV4, 2400. Ancient Battle Technique, after practice equipment that surpasses your current level can be equipped. Effect, ignores any piece of equipment's level requirement by 3 levels. Class Skills, Ling Tian Battle Soul, War God Technique, Current Level, LV2, Highest Level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 2000. Powerful battle technique originating from War God's Soul Force, after practice can greatly increase personal attack strength permanently. Effect, strength increases by 2*X points, physical attack strength increased by 5*X, X equals current level, Ling Tian / current level, LV2, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 400. Using the weapon in the hand to attack a single enemy, suddenly releasing the strength of the battle's soul the instant you hit the enemy, dealing devastating damage towards the opponent. Effect, single target attack, damage is equal to 210% of regular attacks, critical hit chance plus 5%, 5% chance of stunning for 3 to 5 seconds, very big chance of pushing back the target, MP consumption, 15, cooldown time, 0, Ling Tian burst, current level, LV2, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 300. Pouring the battle soul power into the weapon, instantly releasing it when slashing forward, creating a power explosion in a small area, attacking all targets in a 5-meter area in front, damage is equal to 110% of regular attacks, MP consumption, 20, cooldown time, 0, for corners star formation, current level, LV3, highest level, LV10, SP required to upgrade to LV4, 800. Using the power of the battle soul to sweep the surroundings, instantly forming a formation of destruction in a 10-meter radius around yourself. The raging battle soul power will deal devastating damage towards all targets within the formation. Damage is equal to 400% of regular damage, critical hit rate plus 10%, 100% chance to trigger knockback, MP consumption, 100, cooldown time, 60 secs, battle soul possession, current level, LV2, highest level, LV5, SP required to upgrade to LV3, 3000. Igniting the battle soul, releasing all of your strength, causing you next attack to possess the most extreme destructive power. Effect, damage plus 100% for next attack, MP consumption, 50, cooldown time, 30 seconds. Equipment skills, shooting soaring cloud, throw out soaring cloud with all your strength, the flying soaring cloud will pierce through all enemies in a straight line in front like a shooting star. It also has a certain chance of causing fatal damage, soaring cloud that has been thrown out will not automatically return. Effect, piercing attack in a straight line forward in a 15-meter radius, compulsory hit, 300% attack damage, 1% chance of triggering instant death. HP 50, MP 50, cooldown time, 100 secs, Moon Shadow, Lunar Scourge's exclusive lunar skill. When cast it will release silver moonlight illuminating the target's shadow, forcibly freezing all shadows under the moonlight, suppressing all movement of the shadow and its owner. Effect, all targets in a X meter radius will be forcibly stunned, X equals current level, 4-5 seconds. MP consumption, 0, cooldown time, 60 seconds. Equipment, weapon, right hand, soaring cloud, spear, left hand, sand blade, two-handed sword, Luna chain, lunar scourge, socket 1, heartless orb, socket 2, elementary defense crystal, socket 3, Gemini orb, socket 4, elementary strength crystal, socket 5, elementary pierce crystal, socket 6, elementary speed crystal, socket 7, wind chasing stone, socket 8, empty, socket 9, Sagittarius orb, socket 10, empty, socket 11, empty, socket 12, empty, center left socket, empty, center socket, empty. Center right socket, empty. Helmet, silver helmet mask, regular mask necklace, none earring, none ring, nimble ring, none insignia, proof of courage upper garment, golden stitched garment belt, none lower garment, beastskin trousers handguard, white silver bracers boots, white silver boots unmatchable stats, unmatchable skills and equipment. If Ling Chen's current status was publicized, who knows how great of an uproar he would induce and how many shocked eyeballs he would obliterate. And right now, at a level of LV12, while the other players are all still fighting hard in the novice village, he has come alone to a farming ground packed to the brim with LV15 creatures. Brother, I leveled up. Ling Chen was just about to start abusing this group of red-eyed lizards when Ling Shui Ruo's cry of happiness suddenly came from the communication device. The corners of Ling Chen's lips slightly curved. But leveling up only one level after a small part of the morning, this speed was honestly a bit. After chatting with Ling Shui Ruo for a while, Ling Chen raised his weapons, charging towards the red-eyed lizards. After players experience their first job change and possess an official class, their skills become more versatile and mature, their corresponding stats increase and their strength also increases greatly. And the increase of the strength of players will naturally spur the increase of the strength of monsters. The overall strength of this group of red-eyed lizards is leagues ahead of the creatures in the novice village. Their levels are also 4 levels higher than Ling Chen's current level, but in front of Ling Chen's powerful stats. Ling Tian slash. Raising up soaring cloud high over his head and fiercely slashing down, when Ling Tian slash was activated it brought up a powerful blast of air, hitting straight on the red-eyed lizard closest to Ling Tian. -1207. A 4-digit damage value floated up from the red-eyed lizard's head, directly emptying its HP. Its massive body was even smashed backwards a distance of nearly 3 body positions. With this attack it was immediately like Ling Chen had poked the hornet's nest. The surrounding red-eyed lizards that originally had nothing to do immediately all surrounded him, accompanied by the crackling sound of flying sparks. The lizards here are spawned particularly concentratedly. In the blink of an eye a dozen lizards had already surrounded him, raising their tails and heavily whipping towards his body. The speed of the red-eyed lizards also exceeded Ling Chen's expectations, being suddenly surrounded by a dozen monsters in an instant. If it was another player they would be directly dumbfounded and then choose to flee in panic. Against the surrounding attacks Ling Chen did not even bother looking, his 2 arms simultaneously using Ling Tian burst. Right away, 2 energy waves stacked over each other fiercely rushed forward. -632, -627, -1248, -631-661. A large group of densely packed damage values floated up chaotically in front of Ling Chen, that is a whole 14 damage values. When a red-eyed lizard is hit by Ling Tian burst once, if a critical or pierce occurs it will be directly insta-killed. Even if a critical or pierce doesn't occur it will still be put in a critical state. And being hit twice by Ling Tian burst, it is a guaranteed death for the red-eyed lizards. Under the 2 stacked Ling Tian bursts, 7 red-eyed lizards in front of him instantly died. Ling Chen did not pause at all, swiftly turning his body and another 2 Ling Tian bursts slashing backwards. In a series of concentrated colliding and cutting sounds, the 5 red-eyed lizards behind him also all died. Tut tut, this efficiency. Looking at the group of red-eyed lizards in front and behind that had fallen down to the ground in the blink of an eye, even Ling Chen couldn't help but praise himself. Under normal circumstances, if a LV11 player encounters a LV15 monster, they will all choose to pick up their legs and run, and yet with a casual wave of his arms it was like destroying a group of LV1 little monsters. Even though there is the influence of heaven's jealousy and his leveling difficulty is double of other people, but with this efficiency he believes that even if he is only online every day for a max of 10 hours, he still won't be slower compared to other people and will even be faster than the majority of players. Come, Xiao Hui, come out and devour them. Ling Chen summoned Xiao Hui. Seeing a pile of monster corpses, Xiao Hui's 2 eyes emitted a light of excitement. It rapidly ran over to the corpse of a red-eyed lizard, opening its mouth and spitting out a gray light. In the blink of an eye it swallowed the red-eyed lizard's corpse into his mouth. Ling Chen had already discovered that the speed of Xiao Hui's soul devourer is not dependent on the size of the target's body but instead the strength of the energy. The stronger the creature, the longer it takes to devour. In a bit, Xiao Hui, who had finished devouring 1 red-eyed lizard, stretched his neck, spitting out a red crystalline item. This item looked very familiar to Ling Chen. He walked over and picked it up, surprisingly discovering that his is actually an beginner strength crystal. Killing a red-eyed lizard can approximately give you about 7 or 8 copper coins, and 1 beginner strength crystal is sold for 20 gold at the store. Selling back to the pawn shop, it can still be sold for a high price of 8 gold, items sold back are at 40%. If just 1 red-eyed lizard's corpse can refine out a beginner strength crystal, then he can have a profit of 8 gold coins after killing a red-eyed lizard. Ling Chen scanned red-eyed lizards covering the land. This is not only piles of experience but also pile of shining gold coins. Xiao Hui, that finished devouring 1 red-eyed lizard, scampered over towards the other red-eyed lizards, opening its mouth and spitting out a massive gray light. Under Ling Chen's surprised gaze, Xiao Hui enveloped a whole 5 red-eyed lizard corpses at once, and then the 5 corpses all turned into gray light, being swallowed by Xiao Hui. The time it took was no different for devouring 1. And the different result is simultaneously refining 5 red-eyed lizards. Xiao Hui spit out an even bigger red crystal. Ling Chen rapidly walked forward, picking it up. Elementary strength crystal. Ling Chen lifted up his head. Each of those rapidly crawling red-eyed lizards had already turned into piles of moving gold coins in his eyes. Elementary strength crystals, that's a price of 200 gold coins in the shop. In that case, let's go. In the quiet central plains, Ling Chen entered, breaking the silence. It was red-eyed lizard territory. Ling Chen rushed out to fight, holding 2 weapons. He chose the places where there were highly populated with red-eyed lizards. 1 look and the group of red-eyed lizards in that direction would run away, then 2 Ling Tian burst came down at once. His shots were extremely fast and precise. The red-eyed lizards couldn't even get a chance to make an attack before dying. And the poor lizards, even after dying, did not get peace, as Xiao Hui would rush out to swallow them, engulfing their bodies till there was nothing left. And in accordance to the instructions of Ling Chen, each time it would swallow 5 units at a time. Every time this happened, it would spit out an elementary strength crystal. Ling Chen killed quickly, Xiao Hui also swallowed quickly. They did not slow down. It was only when Ling Chen finished the eradication process, and was finished picking up the spoils, did it finish swallowing. The wideness of the plain was incomparable. it was capable of accommodating thousands of people training at the same time, but this large place was cleared out by Ling Chen and Xiao Hui to the point where it was deserted. With Ling Chen's scary clear rate, in a short time, the dense population of red-eyed lizards had become sparse. Killing two at once was not satisfying enough. Ling Chen simply had to keep going, so he cleared yet another area of red-eyed lizards before returning. Just like that, he alternated between two areas, left-right, left-right. The respawn rate of the red-eyed lizards could barely keep up with the rate they were being killed. After an hour. Ding! Your pet, spirit beast, Xiao Hui has successfully leveled up to level 9, HP plus 200, MP plus 5, Defense plus 20. After swallowing a bunch of red-eyed lizard bodies, Xiao Hui successfully leveled up to level 9. Under normal circumstances, a pet's leveling rate is the same as the player's leveling rate, that is to say the rate of growth of Xiao Hui for swallowing the lizards is the same for Ling Chen when killing the same type of monsters. So, its leveling rate has a jealous trait, doubling the rate of Ling Chen. As a result, after not too long, it will catch up to the level of Ling Chen. But, a pet's level can never be higher than the master, so, when Ling Chen and Xiao Hui's levels are the same, it will be directly gated by Ling Chen's level, which is equivalent to suffering from jealous. Ling Chen's own experience had also increased, and in this hour, his bag had gained an additional 260 elementary strength crystals. Of course, the initial primary strength crystal was now negligible. Crystals do not count as equipment within the bag. Like potions, it could only store up to 200 of the same on a storage grid. 260 elementary strength crystals, even they were cashed in directly to the pawn shop in Azure Dragon City, they can be sold for more than 20,000 gold coins. When Xiao Hui leveled up, it also stopped for a moment, so Ling Chen counted the number of crystals in his bag. He could only think of one thing. I'm rich. I'm really rich. In an hour, he eradicated monsters and leveled, which then resulted in minimum earnings of at least 20,000 gold coins. 20,000 gold coins. Having 20,000 gold coins in the early game, it was undoubtedly equivalent to being a billionaire. Also, the gold that he obtained only took 1 hour to obtain. Looking at the wiggling tail that was looking around for new objectives, it was obviously Xiao Hui being unsatisfied. Ling Chen really did not know how to describe its strength. This is just an initial stage, only level 15 monsters. What if it's later in the game, where it would devour higher level monsters, or a high level boss? He had no idea what it would refine and spit out. At noon, Ling Chen called Ling Shui-Ruo to go offline for a break and lunch. Afternoon was spent with Shui-Ruo going online together, once again going to the red-eyed lizard's territory. After enjoying the peace of the late afternoon, the red-eyed lizard's population had become dense once again. Ling Chen then did a quick sweep, as far as the eye could see, then the bodies of red-eyed lizard littered the ground, which was then followed by Xiao Hui, turning them into elementary strength crystals. For the next 2 days, Ling Chen planned to stay here. He had killed a few thousand red-eyed lizards. He used up 9 pieces of equipment. 7 white equips, 2 steel equipment, and there wasn't even a hint of bronze gear that could be seen. He also used quite a large amount of restoration potions. In addition to the fact that he originally had full supplies, he was able to stay here and farm for a whole day without needing to return to resupply. Half the afternoon had passed and countless red-eyed lizards had become Ling Chen's EXP and elementary strength crystals in his bag. As Ling Chen's EXP slowly grew closer to reaching level 12, Xiao Hui was also close to reaching level 10. Older brother, I'm level 2. Ling Shui-Ruo happily cried, then Ling Chen did too. Ling Tian burst sweeps, killing all the red-eyed lizards in front of him, and started laughing. Hearing Shui-Ruo's voice while doing something so boring, the restlessness in his heart suddenly disappeared. He lifted his left hand, and spoke into the intercom, "Go Ruo, oh, I'll just continue to clear these groups." As he said that, less than 10 meters in front of him, a great lizard with a shining body appeared. This lizard was 4 to 5 meters long. its whole body was on fire and was releasing a red light. As it appeared, a surge of hot air surged towards him. The red-eyed lizards in the area all gathered around it, and panic spread to the surrounding area. Finally, an elite monster has appeared. Wait, this doesn't seem like an elite, could it be? Flaming Komodo Dragon, type, beast level, 15 grade, Lord HP, 15,000 mutation of red-eyed lizard, has a huge body and strong defense, high offensive capabilities, aggressive attitude due to the flames, any part of the body can release a jet of flames. Ling Chen had been tearing up the red-eyed lizard territory all morning and half the afternoon, and not even a small boss had appeared. Now that something had appeared, it was a lord. Ling Chen turned off the intercom. He started to look a little more serious, and he took the initiative to move as fast as the wind. The size of the flaming Komodo dragon was large, but its movements were not slow. As Ling Chen got close, his body suddenly swung around. A huge tail swung around with a whistling sound towards Ling Chen's body. If this hits, it would knock Ling Chen back at least 10 meters away. But Ling Chen's speed could match it. He put a foot down, and jumped high into the air, easily dodging the sweep from the flaming Komodo dragon. As he was falling down, he landed right in front of the flaming Komodo dragon, using both hands to activate Ling Tian slash as he was falling. Bang bang. -966-1245, hit. The flaming Komodo dragon's defense was not really covered, and with Ling Chen's strong base attack providing a large part of the damage, whether ordinary level 15 players could break through the defense is the question. 2 Ling Tian slashes pushed the flaming Komodo dragon's body back by 2 meters. It was obviously getting angry. The flames on its body grew more chaotic. Its body retreated slightly. His mouth suddenly opened. Ling Chen raised his eyebrow. Without thinking, he quickly rolled out of the way. Fwo. 5 to 6 meter flames came out of the flaming Komodo dragon's mouth, causing the air around to heat up. Ling Chen rushed to the side of the flaming Komodo dragon to avoid the flame, following up with 2 cuts. -9521910961959. The flaming Komodo dragon HP bar that was twinkling was cut nearly in half, causing the Komodo dragon to retract its flames and start to retreat. It tossed its head, letting out a very harsh-sounding hiss. The sound had a strong penetrating power. It traveled a long distance. Suddenly, in a 10-meter radius around it, all the red-eyed lizards all went ballistic, madly rushing to Ling Chen's location. Ling Chen quickly glanced around, counting. There was 50 to 60. At this scale, plus the one Lord-class boss, it would scare a dozen of players away at once. This was free EXP, Ling Chen grinned, and without looking, he rushed around towards the red-eyed lizards, straight towards the flaming Komodo dragon, unceremoniously performing 2 more Ling Tian slash. When the flaming Komodo dragon wanted to counterattack, he used the moon shadow, leaving the body deadly still. Then 2 rounds of Ling Tian slash to hack into its body, causing this strong lord to be left as bloody residue. At this time, Ling Chen stopped the attack, and silently looked around at the red-eyed lizard group that was getting more and more dense. He leisurely raised his left hand with the soaring cloud. Soul sacrifice. Battle soul possession. 2 scary rays of light emitted from Ling Chen's body. What was even scarier was a sudden shockwave which had exponential power. The surrounding 50-plus red-eyed lizards all were gathered into a gruesome circle. Nearby, only 1 step away, it also got rid of the body of the flaming Komodo dragon. Ling Chen finally got to see some action. The soaring cloud in the air suddenly fell down. 4 beams condensed from the invisible fighting spirit and fired out in 4 different directions. 4 fighting spirits fired out, and intertwined, flying into the sky, with Ling Chen's body in the center, forming a diagonal square shape. Then, boom! All the fighting spirit exploded. -1840014365367981839236690. Ling Chen calculated that the 4-corner star formation would have enveloped the flaming Komodo dragon and all the red-eyed lizards that ran towards him, and in the explosive destruction, extreme damage was dealt one after another, eradicating all the lizards. Soul Sacrifice combined with Battle Soul Possession, together with the strongest attack, for Corner's star formation, this is the upper limit of Ling Chen's attacks, one critical strike after another, all in all, dealing over 30k damage. There is no doubt, whether it is the flaming Komodo dragon, or 50+ red-eyed lizards, the Four Corners star formation would have killed everything, not leaving a single soul.